morning, everyone. I would like to start off this town hall meeting with a quick prayer. So, Deputy Chief, if you can just stand up and give us a quick, it doesn't matter how you do it, we can hear your voice, give us a quick prayer, and we go from there.
Okay, we would bow our heads, please. The Father, first and foremost, Jesus, thanks for bringing us here this morning, the Father, safely, the Father. We pray for the city, first and foremost, the Father. We pray for these neighborhoods, the Father. We ask for progression. We ask that we be the city that sits on the hill, the Father, the light that sits on the hill, the Father. We ask that you bless our children. We ask that you bless our schools. We ask, the Father, that you bless our leaders in our community, our city manager, our commissioners, our mayor, the Father, to guide us in the right direction. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Good morning, Fort Pierce. Good morning, people in the audience. I am Commissioner Gaines. This is my first of hope to be many town hall meetings. I called this meeting to be able to talk to you one-on-one without the podium and the other commissioners. Just a few ground rules. Anything that's on the city council meeting for Monday night agenda that has a hearing or anything, you can discuss it, but I can't discuss it. So if you have a concern about it, you can say that. But as far as myself, I'll take your concerns down and I will, ask you to come to put it on the official record Monday night. That is to protect myself and to protect the city from violation of sunshine law. I've been told that other commissioners or even the mayor might show up today. I ask that you do not ask them any questions or ask them to comment. That would be a violation of the sunshine law. But this meeting is for you guys. I want to hear your concerns. I've read the comments. I've gotten the emails. I want us to have a conversation. There's a lot of anger in our community. There's a lot of issues in our community. And instead of running, I'm here to address and see how we can work together to make our city a better city. I can't do this by myself. I need your support. So I had the joke going around City Hall that before I did this, I was gonna tell everybody that if you're mad at me or something that I did as a city commissioner, I'm gonna give you your 30 seconds to tell me why you're mad at me and tell me what I need to do. And then after that, I'm gonna say, let's have a discussion to talk about what the problem is and why you're here this morning. So again, I say thank you for coming out. I know everybody has a busy morning and we can get started. As you see, I have a pad here. I don't have an agenda because I want to know what's your concerns and what you want to talk about. Now, I'm upset at the numbers of shootings in Fort Pierce. After I leave here today, I have to go to a funeral at 3 o'clock, of a young man that lost his life, playing with the gun. So I'll deal with that also. But I want to hear your concerns and your solutions if you have one, so we can work together as one. You elected me, I'm your commissioner, I'm here to hear your concerns. So with that being said, mic is open and let's get started.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a couple of things.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going to mention a few of them.
Mention all you want.
Okay.
State your name for me so I know who I'm talking to.
My name is Linda Jones,
All right.
and I've lived in Fort Pierce most of my life. My question is, my daughter, I have a daughter that is a real estate, just got her real estate license,
Yes, ma'am.
and she was looking up subdivisions in Fort Pierce in the Black community, and she came across a Killer subdivision. And I didn't believe that someone would name a subdivision Killer. But she says off 15th Street somewhere, and I said it got to be a name that a gang member put there. She said, no, it had to be a city issue to name a subdivision. And I wanted you to check and see if it really is called Killer Subdivision in North 15th Street. And if it is it possible that that name can be changed because of the multiple violence that we have in our community?
All right, so I grew up on 16th Street. So and I've been here all my life too. So I am not familiar with a subdivision called Killer Subdivision. However, I will make sure that I look into that.
Okay.
And if it is, I hate guaranteeing stuff.
Don't
like that.
guarantee,
Yeah, but I can almost, I'm almost positive that no commissioner that sat before me allowed the name of a subdivision to be Killer passed.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I'm going to check into that.
Please check.
And if it's on the record,
She showed me, and I said, I just don't believe that. But
and
if you check and see
I will check.
if possible that it can be changed.
I will check, and I would ask your daughter to bring a copy of that to me at the city hall or email me at the city hall.
Okay.
So I can see it, so we can jump on that immediately, because the one thing I don't need is subdivisions in the city of Fort Pierce, especially in 15th Street, the area that I represent, that's called Killer Subdivision, because that just
Yeah.
puts negative on
Negative
that
in the
division right now.
community. Yeah. Okay. My other question is Pine Grove Cemetery
Yes, ma'am.
look like it's full. And they closed off that one little road that we used to drive through and park. And my question is, if it's full, where else are they going to put the remains of people if Pine Grove
Right.
is full?
Okay. Ooh, that's a good question. I know that it's getting almost to
Yes.
capacity, if it's not at capacity.
Uh-huh.
We know that, I lost my train of thought right now. I know there's another cemetery over off of 17th Street,
Yes.
Sarah Memorial's
Sarah
Garden.
Memorial.
Sarah Memorial's Garden, so I don't know if that's going to be, the next area where we go. But I know that cemeteries and cemetery dedications, that comes from the state. You have to go through the state to get the land. So even if the city wanted to say, somebody came and say, I want to donate this land for a cemetery, it has to go through state approval and all those chains. But, city manager is here, he's hearing these questions, so we can try to get some answers to that. But yes, it is, almost capacity. And I know right now that there's a group of individuals in the community that are trying to make it a historical site. So,
Okay. Because I know they're adding.
so you see the little stuff
things.
they're adding,
Yes.
they're trying to make it a historical site. So if that happens, then it also puts a hammer on, a stop on everything, because now you have to go through other steps, because if the state
Yes.
deems it historical, then we got to go through that. But
Okay.
I can try to answer that question.
Okay.
As I sit here today, that's a question I have no idea where we're going to put. If the state comes in and deems it full, then I don't know. So I guess it'd be Riverview and everywhere else that we go. But I have that note.
Okay.
Go ahead. No,
I got one.
This your time.
Okay.
This is your
I got
time.
one other question. Housing for the homeless.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, the Fort Pierce Housing Authority have quite a few houses for big families. Because it used to be that most families are 5 or 6 or 6 or 7 kids.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm from a family of 10, so that's how the housing market was with Housing Authority. They have big houses, but they don't have those big families anymore. And I was wondering if possible that they can, I think sublease it to two families, senior citizen, seniors,
I understand.
that they, instead of a house that sleeps four, have 4 bedrooms, you can put 2 senior citizen or 3 seniors in a house to help with housing for the seniors. Because I've been on their list almost 2 years waiting for housing authority place something smaller.
Right.
Because my landlord went from $1,000 a month to $1,350.
Yes, ma'am.
And that $1,350 was a big hole in my pocket.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm thinking housing authority can help with that in subleasing houses for us seniors. The homeless, I don't know, this land right there, that they can probably build some studios or 1 bedroom for the homeless. And most of those people that are homeless get some funds. They get about $600 or $700 a month, but not enough to pay for a house. But if housing authority can give them a break, they can have a place to stay.
All right.
So
That was a multiple question in that last one. So let me
That's-
break. No,
and
you're
th- and
good.
that's-
I love it. Let me break it down for you. One thing I want you to know is that, as you see, this is being recorded, so anybody from the housing authority or whatever can come back and hear your questions and answer. I want you to know that as your city commissioner, I'm on 2 boards. I'm on affordable housing board for the city, and I'm on a homeless board for the county. And in about a couple months, maybe it's almost September, you're going to see 2 reports from both of those boards addressing what you just talked about. Homelessness and affordable housing for senior citizens to break down into, I don't need 4 and 5 bedrooms or 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, small house for a senior citizen to be able to live. It was Monday night, I think it was Monday, at a conference agenda we just had this Monday. We had an idea and a plan that was brought to by our planning board where we were looking at to change some of these vacant lots in the area. We got to do some more thinking and some laws, but these vacant lots in these areas, and for example, if it says that the lot is zoned for 3 bedrooms, so instead of making the 3 bedrooms 1 house, you might make a house for 2 bedrooms, and on this other one, put a house for a 1 bedroom with a kitchen and everything in it. You have your 3 bedrooms, and that way we can start putting in the smaller homes, or if you want a 2 home. So those ideas are coming right now.
Okay.
And both boards have reports that are due to the city council and county commissioners in September. So once those recommendations are out, we're going to try to push it. As you know, the Blue Horizons, the community that is out by Walmart, the homeless out in
Sable Palm?
Not Sable Palm, the brand new one they're building across from home. That's an affordable housing project that is about to hopefully open soon, and we're going to see how that's going. But I'm already ahead of you as far as breaking the big houses down to the smaller houses, because I know I have elderly that don't need a big house. Now, another thing that I'm trying to do, and I talked about it Monday, was I'm trying to get out of people in my community and in my district being renters. I'm trying to, when we do this, I want you to be able to own, if it's your little tiny piece of home, I want you to be able to own that home, because I think that once you do ownership, our community gets better, our community has more, feel like it's part of there. So that's already in the processes. I'm just waiting for it to hit the 2 reports. The 2 committees are presenting reports to the county board and the city board, and we're going to go from there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, since I'm closest, I'll go next.
No problem. Who am I talking to?
Anyway, I'm Ipiana Abayomi. I came here today to just listen. I know we were going to have a packed house, but I guess that didn't happen.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so I didn't have anything set to say, but I do have some concerns. And one of my concerns is, as always have been, Morris Creek and the maintenance of Morris Creek. It's one of the most beautiful parks that I've been to. I've been around the country and, have seen some parks, I mean, size-wise, it's not that big, but its architecture, design, and landscaping design is really wonderful. And we got a lot of funds was put into that project. And I go out there, I live a couple blocks away. I go out there to exercise and chill, whatever. And I see sofas in the water, dining tables in the water, a lot of people doing some non-legal things. So I think it's an asset to our community. And I would like to see the city, go through there and they have, and I must say the upkeep is great, but there's some big things out there that needs to be lifted and taken out the waters. I don't know how a sofa get in the water or how a dining table get in the water, but it happens. So I just want the city to cherish this jewel that we have. You can't find that in a lot of places. And if we can get a couple of law enforcement officers to go through there on bicycles on a routine basis, we have folks, the majority, I would say, probably 80% of the people who utilize the park is not for good stuff. It's not for recreation. It's not for enrichment. And we need to get that energy out of there so that, folks who would enjoy such a jewel can come and experience that. But people tend to stay away from, if you got all kinds of smoking and all kinds of whatever, going on. So it'd be nice if the city can come through there and on a routine basis. I know we all, it's about money and we just can do so much, but that's one of the things that I live in that community. Right. Historic Lincoln Park, and the whole area is a jewel. Let's do what we can to, bring it up. Speaking of Lincoln Park, this is something that other agencies deal with, but the route at 12th and D, as well as the Lincoln Theater. I know that's somewhat out of you all's hands, but let's put some extra energy and see if we can,
We can talk about that.
if we can do something that has been, of course, the Lincoln Theater has been about 30 years in the making of, coming back. The route has been, I guess, about 5 years now, and it would be really good to see, those two institutions, the Lincoln Park and the new concept of the route. If we can get those two institutions off the ground to coincide with, the Highwaymen's Museum that's coming on, as well as, and hopefully the Means Court Center will get some energy and be back on board too. So since I'm here, I just wanted to mention that. And there's one other thing that I got that has slipped my mind that I wanted to talk about. But, oh, yeah, I'm on the Arts and Culture Advisory Board for the city.
Okay.
And I guess I've been on there for a year and a half, 2, I don't know. But I'm hoping that, I think, the Arts and Culture Board can make an impact in the city. And it's, it's the kind of thing that's very, how can you describe it? In terms of its impact, maybe a little vague, lucid, but it's just not getting any traction there since the 2 years that I've been on the board.
Okay.
And I know a lot of that is on the board itself, but if we can get some energy from the commission, it'll be highly appreciated.
All right. But hold on. I'm gonna address some of the stuff for you.
Okay.
Hold on. All right.
There.
All right. We're gonna go back in order. I'll start with the Arts and Culture Advisory Board.
Yeah.
If I need your help, if you're on that board and you're seeing stuff that you feel that they're not doing or they could do better, don't wait to town hall meetings like this. Come see me. Let's talk about it. Call me, find me, track me, and let's talk about it. Because I need to know. I get their reports, and if I don't know if they're not doing anything, I need to know so I can say, hey guys, what can we get done? Because arts and culture are very important to what we're trying to do, make this whole picture of Fort Pierce. And what I'm not going to do is allow every other part of Fort Pierce to look good and not Lincoln Park in our area. So that's not going to happen. Going back to the Lincoln Theater and the Root, since I've taken seat, I've been trying to figure out what's going on with the Lincoln Theater. I've asked to meet with who's over the Lincoln Theater, because the Lincoln Theater is a key to everything we're trying to do on Avenue D to revitalize the entrance going back into Lincoln Park and the Peacock and all that. It's part of the history. So if you know who's over it or whatever, I'm saying it on here again, guys, come meet with me so we can see what we can do, because I need the Lincoln Theater up and open and running. Because what I don't want is when the Highwayman Museum opens up and everybody comes in to Fort Pierce to see the Highway Museum and they see the Lincoln Park, they see the Lincoln Theater sitting there looking like it's looking. So I'm 100% on you. I've asked to meet with their board several times. They would not meet with me. So I'm standing on meetings. Here it is. They can come meet with me so we can see what can we do to make that happen. Morris Creek, 2 things. If you, and I'm gonna start driving, I walk it sometime, but I'm gonna start driving it more too. If you let the word be known that when you see a sofa, report it that day. And call me that day, and I'll get somebody out there, within the 24 to 48 hours to remove that sofa. I know how much money was spent into Morris Creek. We're actually using Morris Creek to recruit developers into that area to put some of the houses that you talked about in that area for the people, because it's such a jewel. So if you see it, and anybody listening to this message, if you see the stuff in Morris Creek, report it. And the one thing I do is I have no problem sending an email to our city manager and say, hey man, we need to get somebody out there to get this sofa. Now, you ask for bicycles, police officers to ride, right? Ride through there. Every time I get that request for more police presence, I'm just be honest with you, since we're having a talk today, right guys? This is open talk, right? Open talk. Every time I get that request, Commissioner Gaines, can you have more police presence, more police presence, more police presence? I said, no problem. Guess what the next phone call I get? Why the police always over here in our neighborhood harassing us? I'm just being honest with you. That's what I'm dealing with. So the deputy chief is here. He heard what you said, so I'm pretty sure the guys on the bicycle would love to ride up and down Morris Creek because it's a pretty path. But I don't want to hear the next conversations that they're over here harassing us. I've heard the complaints about what goes on at Morris Creek. I understand when you said 80%, you were being generous. It's probably 90%. So I have that written down. I would talk to the chief and deputy chief to see if we can get the presence, like you said, of to try to clear it up. And I would do everything in my power to make sure it's cleaned up so we won't see sofa and dining tables and anything else in the creek.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to say also that the Commissioner C. Johnson appointed me to the Arts and Culture
That's
Committee.
fine.
And I have, I do talk with him. I don't want to not, I don't want to give the impressions that,
No.
he's not energized. And,
No. Let's. I'm glad you brought that.
But-
Let's get that straight right now. That wasn't the pressure. That's not what I was saying.
Okay.
What I was saying was my door is open too.
All right.
That's what I was
Sounds
saying. My door is
Okay.
open too.
All right.
And
Right.
if you get 2 ears, are
Yeah.
better than one. That's all I'm
Right,
saying.
right. And this just was the opportunity for me to move forward with those suggestions and
No,
opinions. So hopefully, we'll come together as a community and, address those issues. And, and now that I got to my, the issues of violence and it's very deep, it's a cultural issue. It's a historic issue. It's something I just would like to say this, that, law enforcement is not going to solve on their own. It's not a law enforcement issue. It's much bigger and much deeper than that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm done.
But I'm here to discuss that too. It's our issue. So, okay. Thank you, sir. Comments taken down. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Commissioner.
All righty.
First, thank you for making the opportunity available, making yourself available to the community to come down and have this discussion. A lot of commissioners don't do this, so I appreciate you taking the time to do this. And before we leave, before I step away, I would love for you to tell us what we can do to assist you. Fort Pierce is a city, but it's a community.
Correct.
And you are a commissioner. So essentially, you're managing a section within the city. But as those individuals that live within the city, we're also responsible for aiding you in the maintenance and the upkeep and the law and order of that particular area in which we live in. One of the things that I find troubling is there are lines, invisible lines drawn all around the city. Within the historical Black communities, home values are tremendously low. They're tremendously low because of the appearance of that community. Trash, junk, debris. Those items are directly responsible for driving the value of properties completely down, which allows outsiders and investors to come within the community and capture those homes. As you and I both know, they're not building any more land. All the land that exists is all the land that you have.
Right.
And those that own, have, and those that do not, do not. I heard you earlier speaking about Blue Horizons and how they're coming in and they're going to provide affordable housing in the context of rental properties. And I agree with you. Home ownership is important, but when you're looking at affordable housing, it is a tricky word because what's affordable to him might not be affordable to this young woman, and affordable to her might not be affordable. So you have that odd balance. So there's that whole definition of what affordable housing is, how much is affordable housing, and one of the main components that go with affordable housing is affordable living wages.
Right.
So you can make a home $600, $800 a month if you want to, but if your living wages will not allow you to sustain that, then that still causes a problem. Along with affordable housing here, you know, it has been well documented that Fort Pierce has some of the highest electric utility bills in the area. And I'm not really certain what the driver behind that is, but that's something I think that the homeowners here in the city of Fort Pierce would also like to address also. But back to the housing issue. As long as the housing in the Black community appears dilapidated, have broken cars and boats and all of these things around, the housing value will always be extremely low.
Right.
There are certain areas within the city of Fort Pierce where grass has not been cut 10 years plus, where trash has sat in the same spot so long it has had birthdays. That is no reflection upon you, that's just a fact. So as citizens of the community, they want to know why our side of town doesn't get cleaned up. If we go across the bridge, well manicured, flowers planted, people are picking up. It seems as though waste management is coming along. And in the Black community, that doesn't seem to be the care. Many years ago, I was a part of an event that was called Rock the Block, and where we went around and we painted like 60 homes in a month. We brought that whole idea back to my church. My church would go around and paint paint houses throughout the city of Fort Pierce. Well, that ended up getting the attention of Larry Lee. And Larry Lee wanted to do it all up and down this block. And so it's an annual thing that is now taken off. That's good and great. That's only once a year.
Right.
I'm not saying let's put code enforcement on the homeowners. Being a chairman of code enforcement, I understand that you can fine someone as much as $500 a day for a simple infraction of your grass being 12 inches. You can fine someone $500 a day because they have a broken fence, a broken window, the roof isn't fixed, they got junk cars. You can fine someone $500 a day. And families aren't making $500 a day, but the state of Florida gives that discretion to the person in code enforcement to do those things. I'm not saying sit code enforcement on members of our community. What I'm saying is let's inform them of this is what the state statute says. And right now you're in violation. And because you're in violation and you have 4 broken down cars in your yard, they may be your cars, but those 4 junk cars impact your neighbor's home value. So either you're going to get them out or you're going to have to deal with the consequences. When it comes down to, the gentleman made a comment about, well, it wasn't even more so him. It was more so you when you were sharing that when we ask for law enforcement present at certain places, you quickly get another phone call saying, why do you have law enforcement? Oh, listen, that's going to happen.
Right.
That's going to happen. Members of this community want to feel safe. So if law enforcement needs to be there in order for us to feel safe, that's fine. But feeling safe and feeling picked on, those are 2 different things. And I don't think the intention of law enforcement's present is to pick on anyone. It's just, hey, you asked for us to be here, we're here. so we can appreciate them being here. So if we're saying, hey, we need you, by all means, send in law enforcement, and we'd welcome that. It's a difficult job that you do. There are potholes. People don't know the challenges that go behind what you do. They think that you can just arbitrarily make things happen with a sign of your pen or with the cast of a vote.
Right.
There are many rules and things that have to take place in order for things to move. Black businesses want to thrive in Fort Pierce. Tell business owners here in Fort Pierce they want to know what can you do to assist them with making their businesses thrive. Schools. I mean, we want to make sure that the kids that attend schools, hey, one, if I send my child to school, you're going to bring my child back or let me get my child back.
Right.
We hear all the time, too many times around our nation about school shootings. What can we do to ensure that the schools that we're sending our students to are as safe as possible so we can get our students back? Not even going to go into the whole contextual thing with books and Mothers of Liberty, not even going to go down that path. Like I said, I understand you have a difficult job. The community wants to partner with you. Tell the community what can we do to help your job be more effective, that it will benefit all of us within the community.
Okay.
Thank you.
Woo. Okay. All right. Let me before the next person comes, let me respond to some of the things that you said. There's a lot of people know or don't know, might not. That gets me in trouble sometimes. But I'm very vocal and visual on social media. And just this week, I think it was just this week, I asked the same question you asked today. Why do we throw trash on the side of the road in our community? I mean, there are trash cans. The city puts trash cans everywhere. And if you don't have a trash can in somewhere in your community that you think you need a trash can, that would make you put in a trash can, I know Public Works will bring a trash can out there and put it in. So the first to answer your question, what can you do to help me? You can always be my eyes and ears. I don't see everything. I don't know everything. But if you call me and tell me and track me down, I'll do something about it. You need to start, and I like the idea, and this is something that I wanted to do to go at you, and I'm still thinking about how to do it. Instead of being a whole, and nothing wrong with what Larry does, I love his program, but let's start by a small neighborhood, by small neighborhood, by small neighborhood. And if you get up and you go out and you take care of your little area, every day, your little area, and your neighbor, we're gonna have real talk, right? Let's have real talk. Y'all know Fort Pierce nosy anyway. So if you out cleaning up your part, you know your neighbor looking at you. Somebody's looking at you. So hopefully you spur somebody, if it's not that neighbor, someone around there, you know what? I'm gonna take care of my little area. Take care of my little area. It got to start home. We gotta start teaching the youth. Because some of us old folks, I consider myself, some of us old folks, it's hard to change our habits. But if we start teaching the youth that if we start changing with 1 cup or 1 straw and you put that in the garbage can, that 1 straw, that 1 cup will start raising these property values and make everything look better over here. As you know, I coach at Northside Little League, and we make our kids walk that field. and clean up after games, after practices, and they're starting to learn, like, first, let me not just throw it on the garbage on the ground now because coach gonna make me clean it up. But the lesson I'm trying to teach them that this is your home field. This represents you. This represents your parents. This represents your community. So you don't want people coming over here to play us and look at all this trash. So when they come, we still in that end. So if we start doing that with each other, you know, just pick up a cup. No one in this room, including myself, is not too good if you're driving down the road where somebody has picked up and dumped a bag of garbage on the side of the road. It will not kill you to stop your car, pick it up, and put it in a garbage can, because I guarantee in less than a half a mile or a block of where you're going, there's a garbage can. Just put it in the garbage can. People notice stuff like that. You'll see me walking every morning and you might see me with a handful of trash because I'm picking it up as I walk. Because if I ask you to do it, I can do it. And it's my community. I live in my community. So that's one thing. I need you guys to be my eyes and ears. And I need you to blow up my cell phone, blow up my email address, blow it up so I can get stuff done. If I don't know, I can't help. If you don't tell me, I can't help. You guys elected me. You're not bothering me, telling me about problems. I want Fort Pierce to grow. I see the divide. I see the lines. The same lines you see, I see. If you remember back back last year or early part of this year, they had that new redistricting. That was a big thing. Big thing. Big thing. And they were trying to draw them lines to match. And, you know, that I'm the troublemaker, you know, the lines that was originally voted on, I didn't agree with, but that's fine because the lines didn't make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm always put on the record that it doesn't make sense. But to answer your question, it goes back to the gentleman before with Morris Creek. If you see something, let me know. You know, the deputy chief is here. Every time y'all talking, he's taking notes. Everybody wants a safe Fort Pierce. I understand that. And to help me, help us, that's what I always say, help me, help us. Let me know what's going on. I can't be everywhere all the time. So if you see something, let me know. You know, not getting yourself in trouble. You've known your neighbor longer than I have. Hey man, we gotta do something about these cars. You can't cut your grass? You got problems? All right, let me go around and find one of these teenagers around here that looking for $25, $20, $30. Give one of these teenagers something to help them come cut grass. It's a bunch of teenagers around here doing absolutely nothing that with a lawnmower, not only will you give them an opportunity to make some money, you might start a career, something that they can see what they can do. So that's what I would do. Let's start talking to your neighbors, be my eyes and ears, and contact us. You know, contact me, contact Commissioner Johnson, contact Mayor Hudson, contact us. If you contact us, let me back up. I'm only speak for myself today. If you contact me and I don't do anything, at this next town meeting, when you get up in the MAC, I want you to say I contacted you and you didn't do anything. Now, the last thing I say on your part is potholes. There's a lot of potholes in Fort Pierce when I got in this seat. But in my year and 8 months, there've been a lot of roads being fixed. Just give me time. More roads are being fixed. And every time, how it works is the engineer department brings a list of projects every year. And what I look for is which one of them projects on that divided line that you talked about. And if it ain't none on that divided line you talked about, I ask why. because our roads are over there right now. Last thing that we just talked about was these bus routes and people waiting out in this hot sun with no shade or no shelter. You know, so be on the lookout. That stuff should start becoming shade and shelter. You know, we want it to look, we can't get on, how do I want to say this? You can't get on the diocese and say One Fort Pierce, and then you go out and leave City Hall and it's not really One Fort Pierce. I get it. I'm working on it. Just keep looking. If you see something, ask me. And I would love to talk to you afterwards, because I got some ideas about breaking down into communities, almost like a competition where this community, like we used to do. I don't see nobody in here that I grew up with other than, but you ain't play football with us, so you ain't do it. But we used to. It used to be sandlot football. You will remember the games. It used to be sandlot football where 16th Street would play 23rd Street, would play Sheridan Plaza, and it was a big thing. And people knew just a football game, but people would come watch the football game. So we could go back to 16th Street competing with 15th Street, competing with 23rd Street to see which street can be better. And maybe the city can say, hey, you guys won the best street. I don't know. But it's ideas like that to give people pride into where they live. Now, the last thing I'll say, and one of the problems I'm facing in our community, is a lot of the owners of the property in our community are out of state, are not here, and they don't care. I've already told them that, you know, these slumlords, I'm on you guys, so you better get ready because I'm trying to get you out of my city. So the one thing that code enforcement is having a problem with is when the code enforcement started hitting them $500 fines or whatever, what it's doing is it's having a negative effect on whoever's renting that property, because it's the landlords are thinking that it's the tenants who are reporting them. So what you think they're doing to the tenants? They're evicting the tenants, and now I have somebody's out that's homeless. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, I got meetings with the landlord association, some other things, because 90% of the landlords in Fort Pierce do what they're supposed to do. It's them 10% that I'm trying to get rid of, and, you know, I can't do for so much, you know, they're land on them, but that's where we are. So that's to answer your question, but thank you. Come on down. Anybody else? Come on down. Oh, you got a whole phone. Okay.
No. It's still good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Gaines. So obviously we've spoken before. My name's Michael Thomas. Commissioner Gaines was one of the coaches for my daughter's softball team. New to the area, to Fort Pierce, to the area. We've spoken about my nonprofit youth development programs. For those who are in attendance, coming up from West Palm Beach, you know, Chief Adderley and the guys in Riviera Beach and out in Belle Glade, Pahokee. Demographics are similar, which is why we've spoken. So I do want to say thank you for hosting this. You know, like the gentleman up there, there are people who are paying attention and do think you're doing a wonderful job. You've been very supportive of the ideas that I've had. I get a little mouthy, but you know, you've been very supportive. Really, I just want to say, one, good job, and two, we haven't spoken in a while, but that's because I've been in the background working.
Okay.
I have a lot of ideas, and I'd like to speak with you about setting up a time to kind of give you my calendar for the new year.
All right. You know I'm about to call you out, right? You know I'm about to call you out because you didn't let your daughter play for me All-Star, but that's neither here nor there. Mr. Mims, do you remember that I came to you and said we had a gentleman that was interested in bringing lacrosse program to Fort Pierce, and you say, hey, bring it, let us talk about it? There's a gentleman right there. So I'm gonna call you out. Let's do it because it benefits lacrosse. Is something that benefits the kids in my community. And if we have a city manager that also loves kids and sports program, what better way to bring in, you know, the program? We're waiting on you. I told you, I
No,
passed the word.
You did. That's why I wanted to come this morning. I told my wife, she was like, where we going? No, baby, we
I
gotta
passed
go.
the word. So I want you to know, I passed the word. Now, to anybody else listening to this and when it's taped, I've also planted the seed that every Saturday and Sunday, if we go to Dreamland Park right around the corner, soccer fields are full. So I've already approached the city manager and said, this is a great opportunity for the city of Fort Pierce to have a Firehawks, it had to be the name, but a Firehawks soccer league, because it reaches over to all the communities in our community. So we're always thinking alike, because again, if you keep the kids active, that's right. If you keep the kids active in something structured, you ain't got to worry about them doing something on the other end, because we got them in this program. So thank you for coming. I'm waiting on you. I would love to see lacrosse in Fort Pierce. I mean, I got kids that'll sign you up, and we go from there. Again, and anything that I can do, or you see this out there that's needed, you have my number. You know how to track me down, and we go from there. Thank you. Now, one of the things that you said earlier, I don't see anybody here. Grants department here? Anybody from the grants came? Nobody? All right. One of the things that you said about black businesses, somebody from the grants was supposed to be here today, but I'll make sure we get it out, or information out. I wanted them to come to really talk about all the grants that are out there that people don't know about. That we go through the commission meetings so fast, and people don't know about these grants that are out there, that are sitting there, that the city is waiting and hoping for applications so we can give the money to the people to do what they're supposed to do. The grants are there. I was on a conference, I think Wednesday, with Transit. And it's supposed to have been a 20-minute conference, and it lasted like an hour or 10 minutes, because he said he hadn't heard the answers that I was giving. I said, well, don't ask me the questions about what needs to be done in the northwest section of Fort Pierce, because I'm going to tell you. One of the things that I want to ask you guys sitting here today, does anybody in here remember receiving any type of survey or emails or anything from somebody from Transit talking about what is needed in your community? You got one? I got one, two. Anybody else? So one thing I told him was that before he submitted something for some funding, he needs to send the survey to my office so I can get it out to the community, because I didn't see the survey. See? Okay, it was online. I didn't see it. If I didn't see it, and if it was all right, I know how to go online, but I'm gonna use myself as an example. If I didn't have notice of it that was gonna be online, I can almost guarantee I ain't gonna stop to go look for it just to be looking, because I'm trying to do everything else. But what I don't want is a report to go back to the state of Florida talking about Transit and what we need in Northwest Fort Pierce. And I have 20 people in here today, if I count right, and 2 people raised their hand. And I got 3 people raised their hand, and I got a deputy chief sitting here. He ain't raised his hand. City manager back there ain't raised his hand, and I ain't raised my hand. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. So because that means you guys are not being included. And I don't know where everybody in here lives. I don't know what you need as far as transit. Maybe I have elderly people in here that can't make it to a bus stop. You know what I mean? So maybe I need something type of a transportation to get them to the bus stop to do whatever. I don't know. Those are the type of questions that was on there. And one of the things I talked about, he said they had never thought about it. I was like, when I was growing up and we played sports after school, we had a bus. And that bus might not have dropped you off in front of your house, but that bus made several stops in communities. All right, this is this area, you better get off and walk home. This is this area, this area. I know for a fact now that these buses don't take these kids home after school, and a lot of kids cannot participate because their parents can't come get them to take them home. So when I was telling that guy, he was like he couldn't believe it. So I said, if you're gonna have a transit, you could have stops where these kids could walk from the stadium or walk from these schools, get on there and go back to their community. So that's something that you need to talk to St. Lucie County Schools with, and what else. And while I'm here, they didn't even know about freebie. And that's something that we got. That's something that we got going on. A pilot plan that we got going on. And right now, so don't get mad at me because I got those emails too. That yes, it only went to a certain area, but we had to. It was a pilot program, and the money that we used, it had to be used in that area. But now it looks like that we're trying to work and hopefully spread it out where it could help other people in the city. So that's coming. That's on the table. We talked about it. That's coming. But little things like that, I didn't know about a survey. So if I didn't know about a survey, I always said there are people in my community that know about the survey. So that's where we are. So I will put something together with my grants department. Put something together with my grants department to see if we can have a, as you say online, I'll figure out how to get it to the masses. I get it to the churches. I get it somewhere so we can see what's out there. Because there's money sitting there. There's money sitting there that's just sitting there. And people can come use the money because the city can't use the money on city stuff. It's grant money, so we have to use it for what the grant said it's for. So if there's no grants and it's not filling out, we go from there. Now I know the SHIP program is the program that everybody knows about and everybody complains about. And what I've asked to have a couple of meetings like this so people can really understand what you need to that SHIP program. Because people hear it and they go start filling out these applications and then they get denied. And the first thing I hear is they denied because of who I am or where I live. And no, they denied because you didn't fill out the application right. So I said, okay, let's have some training on how to fill out the application and what you need to fill out the application. Now, I'm going back, I'm trying to think about everything you said now. Another thing, you talked about black businesses, right? If you paid attention to what the city council have done, you know there is a lot of projects and that are coming to Fort Pierce. Some hotels, a wave, I'm about to say wave pool. That's what my mind is this morning, but it's not a wave pool. It's a surf wave simulator, whatever, right? And on that part, then they're talking about communities and everything. I've been telling people, look here, these projects are going to happen. These projects are coming. So if you have a landscaping business, Get your paperwork ready so when the city puts out for RFP for the position, you can apply. They're gonna need painters, they're gonna need, janitorial, mandatory. These kids, hey man, you go off and be hotel management and come back and run this stuff here. So I've been telling people to put it out. And one of the things that I've done is, and anytime someone comes in front of me asking about a project, the first thing I said, where is this workforce coming from? Because what I don't want is you bringing a whole bunch of workforce in to Fort Pierce when I have people here that I know that's qualified that can do the work for you. So, and everybody got in front of me and said, hey, we're gonna, and I'm gonna hold them to that, because like I said, everybody can get a job. I want our people to have careers. There's a difference. Job and career. Young people, start thinking about careers. Young people, it's all right if you don't go to college and you decide you want to go to a trade school. Because guess what? The people that go to college, like myself that went to college, when my air condition break, I guarantee I ain't calling no college professor. I'm calling y'all to, hey man, because it's hot over here. I need my air conditioning fixed. And guess what? When they come to mine and say, hey man, it's gonna cost me $275 just to show up to tell you what's wrong, that's money in your pocket. Janitors, AC, roofing, everything you could think of that's going on in the house right now, those are jobs out there. Now imagine on a bigger level when these hotels and these other things come, that you could be the hotel person, the AC person for this hotel. You set, you could sit back and have your own company, and you sit in the office and let them do whatever. That's what we're trying to do when I say careers instead of job. Right now, in the city of Fort Pierce, the city, the FUA board, and all of these positions we are running scared because the people who've been doing it for so long are near retirement age. And Fort Pierce right now, the city is desperately looking for people that want to work and want a career. Yeah, it's a city job, so you might not get the top dollar that you can go get on the market, but I can guarantee you the benefits that come with this city job, retirements and other benefits, when you all averaged out, you're gonna be looking pretty. And here you are with you come in and train and get your diesel mechanics certificate. I think that's one of the ones we scared about. So you become the next senior diesel mechanic person. So you're responsible for taking care of all these big trucks that you see going around Fort Pierce. So you get back and make sure they're running. You get your crew to make sure they're running. You sitting pretty. One thing I always talk about, when people come to me complaining about the police. Hey man, it's good cops, bad cops. It's good citizens, bad citizens. If you're gonna say it, let's say it. However, before you complain about a police officer, there are about, 19, 18, 20 vacancies? Ain't that about right, Ronnie? About 20 vacancies? And guess what? They so desperate for good people to be police officers. You want somebody to look like you, speak like you, go out there and talk to them. They are willing to put you in school and train you to be a police officer so you can come back and patrol the same neighborhood that you saying you'll be on the RAS team. Stop talking about it, go be about it. Did I say that right? And they training and come, they train you, then hire you. Don't they pay you doing training? You get paid while you're training. So you could be the police officer, you could be the person to change and go from there. So jobs are there, but we got to get back in the mindset that we want to go back out and work. And let me just say this might be on a federal level. All these little home jobs that people sitting at home doing whatever, they phasing out slowly and surely. People might start coming back out, come back out and working. So there are jobs there if you want them. So again, that's trying to go back everything everybody said and go back. So that's where we are. So again, this meeting is not for me to talk. It's for me to listen and answer questions that you guys want. So mic is back open. Come and talk. Yes, sir. Yo. This is for you. I'm here for you. Just tell me who I'm speaking to, and then we go from there.
I'm George Sands, and been educated for over 40 years. After moving back to Fort Pierce, which is the original place I was born and raised, I noticed that everything you said is true, but my first question is, actually, since I moved back, I need a brochure to know how to contact these guys. I've come in contact with them several times, but at nighttime, if I need them, there's a different number.
Okay.
In the daytime, if I need them, there's a different number. For example, you spoke about the land and the landlords. I have a property now that's been 90% destroyed because of an individual that live in Canada. I went to the civil rights place, civil lawsuit place. Oh, we don't handle those cases. I called several police officers out. Oh, that's the city. Because it's a strange situation. That's county, this is city, this little strip.
Trust me.
Individual came out, 12-foot wide trailer, building embankment, property entrance to get onto the 22-foot wide thing and tried to put a trailer there. In the process, destroyed my land. I'm gonna need a paper trail when I go to court. No paper trail because of no reports. But I understand that these officers love you guys. Like I said, I come in contact with both ends in Homestead, Florida City. Chief Police of Homestead, best friend. Florida City, best friend. Coach their sons, mayor now, best friend. The guy running for mayor, ex-student of mine. No problem with authority, no problem with the law. What I have a problem with is the people in the community having a voice or having a phone number that they can contact. If somebody was shooting outside of one of our houses right now, and we call a number, if this is an emergency, call 911. You call that number, by that time, this person is shot and gone. And that's kind of perturbing to me as an individual. I came back here to help out in the community, build my home, and live there. Now this guy has tried to get my realtor fired. Now he's tried to, it's a long situation, I don't want to go into it. But I ride through the communities. I see the city people cutting the grass. If they dig a big hole on one side, they come back, they got a truck behind it, they cover it up. 25th Street, my sister's lot, they pick up the trash, big hole. It's been there for 2-3 weeks. Didn't come back and cover it up. All the communities are the same. All the communities pay the same taxes. Let's do this right. I see individuals. I don't see colors.
Right.
As an educator, if you see colors, you need to get the heck out.
I agree.
As a law officer, I'm pretty sure they feel the same way. If you want me to dial the mayor, the chief of police, from either one of them that I just talked about, call them right now. That's how simple it is. All I want to see is, I'm not saying these guys are the problem. It's the contact information that's the problem.
All right.
And a lot of other things. But young man, not a young man, he's 82 years old. Came in, knew him from way in the past, used to live in one of my father's apartments, tried to help him. Went to the police station, no paper trail. Because they said that I couldn't find the guy anymore. The lady that's taking his check is nowhere to be found. But if you go to the Wells Fargo, you can find her because she goes and takes his check every month.
Right.
Try to give him a ride to get him some help and get him something to eat. Put him in my car a couple of times and had to have it fumigated a couple of times. This individual is over 80 years old. walking the street, can't see from me to you. I have to blow my horn. I have to physically walk up and touch him and take him with me. And he's walking the streets. As a result, when she found out I was trying to help this guy, he disappeared. I went to the Social Security office. They can't put a hold on the check. All they got to do is put a hold on it. She's going to go in and see why. Then you arrest her. A lot of these things are simple, but I know these guys' hands are tied. So where do I go from there? I'm trying to help in the community.
Okay.
You know, we need numbers. We need a brochure or something put out that says, okay, this is the civil lawsuit office. This is after dark, these guys. This is after dark, these guys. That's what we need. We need information on how to contact people. We need information on how to get things done.
Okay.
All right. That's
I appreciate that, and that's a good thing. And what I can do is, the one thing about what you said with the city is, and we're actually trying to fix that too, is how Fort Pierce is cut up, because you step on another piece of property, you could be in the county, and then you step back into big city. So we're really trying to fix all that hodgepodge that's going on with these lots in the city. But I can get with the city manager to say, hey, can we put some type of phone list together? That's an easy fix. Phone list together to give to the public to call, that someone will be answered and help can be rendered. I would like to also know, if you stick around or if you have to leave, give me a call or email to the areas where you're saying are not being covered up. If I would like to know those areas are, so I can make sure that when the gravel truck comes and picks it up, what he's talking about is we allow residents to put out all type of trash and leaves on the side of the road, and we got a gravel truck. That's the one with the big claw, and what the gravel truck does is they come and scoop up everything and put it in the truck and take it off. And sometimes when they grab the hole. So what I'm hearing you saying is that some holes are filled and then some holes are left whole. So I need to know where those areas are that are left holes, so I can let the appropriate departments know, hey guys, go back in and cover these holes up, because not only is it unsightly, it's a safety hazard because somebody walking and fall. So again, that goes back to your earlier question. Had you not come today and said that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't drive around looking to see if there's a hole made by the grappling truck in this area, that area. I'll be sitting here lying if I say I did that. So, but now I know, and I can make it known that the city manager heard it too, and I can make it known that, hey guys, if you dig the hole, make sure, we go back and make sure it's safety, that no one can fall in it and it's unsightly. So I thank you for that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't have an agenda. I didn't come to preach to you guys. I came to listen to and discuss your concerns. So
Hi.
I've been waiting on you. How you doing?
I know.
I've been waiting on you.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on you. I thought you was gonna be first. No, it's all good.
Got here a
But
little late.
first, before you get started, let me. How you doing?
I'm making it.
You making it?
I'm
All right,
hanging
well,
in there.
I'm still praying for you, and I told you whenever you needed me, I was here. So, all right, so I'm ready for you. Let's go.
You ready for me?
I think I'm ready for you. All right.
Well, I do have a quick question. One of the questions, I have two. One of the questions I have is, since my daughter's death, Martin Luther King Day, you guys have not reached out to me. I mean, you contacted Jumpin' Joe. Jumpin' Joe gave you my number,
Right.
and then you texted me and told me that you would reach out to me, but
Right.
you didn't. And then I reached out to you, and you
Right.
told me the reason why you didn't reach out to me is because, the situation, and you didn't want to,
Correct.
feel some type of way. But you being a leader in the community, you need to reach out to, us, the victims' parents, the society, you know what I'm saying? Another thing I want to talk about, and I'll let you answer after this, is I know you're putting the cameras up there in the park, but what else are you gonna do? We have shot spotters,
things like that can also go up. But what else are you gonna put up in the community? Not just at that part, not just 13th Street Park, but in the community?
All right, two things. I had to stop all communications with the family after the city was served notice. So once the city was served notice, I couldn't talk to the family anymore. So that's legal.
Right. I didn't reach out to a lawyer till about a month after my daughter passed. So
Right.
within a month's time, nobody still hadn't reached out to me.
Right.
So,
And all right, I understand that, and we're not. I answered your question and said that once we got notice, I was advised by city attorney not to make any more contact with the family because we've been served. There's been a lot of confusion about your daughter's tragic death, and a lot of people still believe that the city should have done something in that park. Your daughter's death has changed a lot of ways how the city is going forward. That park is owned and controlled by the county. If your daughter had not been killed, I would have never known, me or any other city commissioner would have never known about any contracts with anybody with the county wanting to rent that park. We have now asked that if there is a contract that with one of the county parks, that at least we know about it, there's some big event or something, at least we know about it so we can say, hey, do we need to have police here? Do we need to have police there? Whatever. So change is coming. I know it didn't come as fast as you want, but change is coming. And I've been trying to tell everybody, as a city commissioner, I do not have to the right to go in and interfere with a contract that someone has with the county. I have no say-so in that. But now we've asked the county, look here, if someone comes to you and wants a big party in a park that everybody thinks is in the city, let us know about it. That's why our officer wasn't hired. I didn't know about it. I was there. You know I was there. I ran back over there. I was there and ran back over there because I knew I had people and kids there. So change is coming. You know, I take full responsibility if I didn't reach out as much as I should to you. And I apologize to everybody listening to this video and look you in your face. That's on me. So if you want to get mad at me, you have all right. That's on me. But what I have done is try to do everything in my power sitting in this seat that no other mother come stand in front of me talking about this. Now that I can put my 2 feet on. So me not apologize or me not coming to you as you thought I should, I will apologize to you this day. But what I have been doing is to make sure that no other mother comes in front of me like you come in front of me. Now to answer your question, I can't tell you where cameras are going. That defeats the
I don't want to know where the cameras are going.
That defeats the purpose, but that defeats the purpose. Right. But I'm glad you brought it up because you was in City Hall meeting the night you heard that the city has spent $122,000 on cameras around the city.
Right.
All right. I'm trying to be real careful here because I see the chief, the deputy chief, and I see my city manager. There are other things that the city and the police department, and I can only talk about the Fort Pierce Police Department. I have no control over what the sheriff department does. I have no control of whatever the county wants to put up on their thing. But there are other programs, I use it that way, that we have implemented. Some was implemented right before your daughter's death, and we've enhanced those, and other projects that are going on right now in the city. And I'm walking a real thin line here, so I think that's where we are. That's where we are on that. So I want you to understand that you have all right to be mad at me, because I reached out to you from Jumping Joe, like you said. If I dropped the ball, that's on me, and I apologize for that. However, I did tell you that I was going to do everything in my power so nothing like this would happen again when I saw you at that school.
Right.
I did tell you that. And that part, if I didn't come hug you and talk to you, the other part I've been working on. Because there are things out there that if this happened today, we'll be on it ASAP. There's things out there. And I'm looking at the city manager and the deputy chief looking at me, so I'm not saying too much. I don't want to get myself in no trouble, but I'm just telling you that it's moving. And I hope that the county is doing the same thing. I don't go to their meetings. I don't go to their house. But on our side, everything I told you that I was going to push for, I've done.
Okay. Now, as far as I accept the apology as far as I go. But there's other families that going through the same thing.
Correct.
Are you guys reaching out to them?
Correct. I'm actually leaving here today, going to a funeral of the young man that played with the gun and killed himself. I told her husband to make her come and give a presentation today that she gave that Monday night about.
And not only you, but the other city leaders. I don't even know these people. I can only talk about me. Okay.
And that's why I'm sitting here by myself.
All right. I'm going to step to the side, and this is another person that has lost someone.
That's right. So I've been waiting on you. I know.
Hi, Mr. Gaines.
How you doing?
I also lost a sister here in the city of Fort Pierce, and a few years ago she was shot and killed near Kabir Hut on 25th
Right.
and D. And I put up big posters during that time. I don't know if you remember. I put posters up on 25th and
I remember.
and Q. But my question today, I have several, but I don't think I'll be able to ask you all of them. But since you've been sworn in, what changes have you seen, or has there been any changes that you have implemented in the north side of Fort Pierce? And what are the outcomes that are you looking to see once you implemented the things that you want to see changed in our community, as far as like the murdering, the killing,
Right.
And protection for our children, that it's waking up the next day, got to talk about this while going to school, who got killed last night,
Right.
who got shot. There's bullet holes in our house. There are bullet holes in the cars. There's blood stains on the floor where they got to walk to the bus stop looking at the blood stains that the crime scene don't clean up half of the time. What's some of the things that you can implement to keep our children, even if y'all don't want to keep the adults safe, the children, the mental health, the mental state that they're in, have to wake up. I can't remember myself waking up in the morning and talking about who got shot last night, who got killed.
We did.
And that seemed to be a norm in our community. And we're crying out for help, and we want to cry for help the right way, but we want to see some support and some changes from you guys to help us. And also, do we have a task force for homicide in the city, for the police department? Is there a task force specifically just for homicide in the city of Fort Pierce? that only handles homicide, because there's a lot of homicide cases. Yes, there is openings for police officers, but how are they trained to handle the violence that is going on in our city? A lot of officers can go in and be sworn in and do a job, but can they handle these type of complications and matters that's going on in our city? You know, like with my sister, I haven't heard nothing else from nobody. The one day, that was it. I stopped even going down there trying to get help, because one of the detectives told me, well, man, we handling all types of investigations. We might handle a theft investigation, a drug deal investigation, along with murder investigation. So do we have a investigation team just for the killings that's going on North Side? Because I'm concerned about our children and their mental health state of coming up in our community. I know that was a lot, but
No problem, no problem. That's
I
why,
have more, but, you
no,
know.
stay here. That's why we asked this. All right, I've been waiting on you guys, and I hope you guys showed up because I knew you would come and ask the hard questions, and I thank you for that. There is a homicide department in Fort Pierce, all right? And I remember your tragedy. I wasn't sitting here, but I remembered your tragedy. And the one thing that we got to do before we start blaming everybody else, the one thing we got to do is we got to start looking at ourselves. Because every shooting that happened in Fort Pierce, I ain't gonna say every shooting, 99% of the shootings that happened in Fort Pierce, somebody know what happened.
Can I see this?
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you talk.
Okay.
And we got to get out of the I ain't gonna be no stitch. Because when it happens to your family, you telling everything you could think of because it's your family. But when it's somebody else, it's not. Now, you asked me about the kids and the mental health. And that's why I wish the young lady would have came in today and talked about the mental health, because that was a great 3 minutes she gave that Monday night. And that touched me that Monday night to the point where I got on the phone, that you didn't know, but I got on the phone the next day with the superintendent of Fort Pierce Schools and asked him to have grief counselors out there because of some of the deaths that occurred. He had them out there. And I put it on there and said, hey, they're out there, and he had them out there. So mental health is something that I'm trying to figure out how we can get the help to the community. And this is my situation that I'm running into with the mental health. A lot of us in our community, if I set it up or get the people to come, will we go? Because a lot of us don't want to be seen going to ask for help. So that's why I want her to come back so she can help me put it together how to get the people there. Because a lot of us don't want to be seen in going to a mental health or going to something like this if it's mental health, because they look like as they're weak or they think someone is going to use it against them. So if she's listening, Ms. Mobley, are you listening? Come sit with me, because I want to see how we can present it and we can get the mental health for the kids, for the adults, and everybody that need it. How can we get it that people will come? Doctors would come, therapists would come, but will the community come? And that's the help I need. And if she can show me or tell me how we get there, I've already talked to the city manager after that night and said, hey man, this is something that I want to do. And we talked and we said he doesn't mind setting it up and putting it in the area. So we'll come to you guys, we'll come to the community, but will the community come get the help? So to answer your question about the kids, I love to sit down with you. If you can help me get them there or help me do whatever, I'm there for you. But how are we going to get them there? Now, one of the things that you asked, how are we protecting the kids? If I take off my city commissioner hat and put on my just local Coach Gaines hat, I'm out there every day with the kids. I'm out there every day with the kids. Every time something happens, we talk about it. We talk about it. I need other people to come to some of these youth events and some of these youth. Like I said, I'm a sports. There are chorus around here. There are cheerleaders around here. There's all kind of events that other adults can come in and sit down and take 30 minutes of a practice and say, hey, let's talk about this. How are you feeling? I would love to have you. You've gone through, both of you guys have gone through a tragedy. I would love to partner and say, hey, can I invite you to this so you can tell another kid what you've gone through so that kid won't put another parent through the pain you're going through. That's what I'm looking for. I'll meet you anywhere and everywhere you want to go so we can do that. Again, I don't know what's going on with your situation with the why it's taking so long, why no closure. I kind of stay in my lane. I'm not a police officer. I'm not, but I can go ask questions. I can go ask questions, but I know that the homicide detectives and detectives are doing whatever, but I do know people get mad at me when I say this. If a detective goes to someone and asks that person, what do you know? And the person doesn't say anything, but they know everything, how can we change it? Back to your situation, there's about, 1,000 people out there? About 1,000 people. And nobody see nothing. I mean, if you go back and look on my page, I call people out behind that foolishness. Y'all saw everything. And I think I even said it, I think I even said at one of the funerals I attended, I think I even got up there and said, somebody in here right now know what happened. I don't think it was your daughter from, I think it was another young man's from. I said somebody sitting here right now. I think you said it at my daughter. I did yours too? Okay. I said somebody sitting here right now hugging this lady, that's what I said, hugging this mother, know who killed her daughter. Y'all need to go home and look in the mirror, because it could be you next, and your family next. So, not to kick the can down the bucket, people like yourselves that have gone through the pain, that are frustrated, that want help, let's sit down. Let's say, okay, this is what I think will happen. Let's make it happen. That's why I'm here. I knew you were coming. I've been waiting on you to come.
You knew I was coming?
I knew you were coming, and I'm happy because this is the type of conversation I want. I didn't want the conversation to come, be scared to ask me the questions. I'm not going to run. If I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. You came and said I didn't do something. I'm going to apologize in front of everybody. If I didn't come like I said I would, I apologize. But I did what I told you I was going to do. And I got stuff going that I can't talk about, but it's stuff going that the community is safer today because your daughter lost her life. That I know.
And I'm going to hold you to that.
You can hold me to that. There go the deputy chief and there go the city, and we can't talk about it, but I can tell you, and you was at the meeting. You were at the meeting Monday when you heard us approve that money. You know, $122,000 ain't for one camera. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. So it's a better place. So you got your notebook. This your time. But if you really want to have it, let's schedule a meeting. 3 of us. I'll come to you guys. I have my notebook. You have your notebook. Let's talk. That's. I sit down and talk. Let's game plan. Let's go do it.
And you said there is a task force just for
I said
homicide?
I said there's a homicide. I will find out. I know there's a homicide department. Hold on. Where's she at? Can I ask that question, City Manager? Can I ask? You don't want to do that? You don't want to do that, Deputy Chief?
No, you can answer it. We have homicide detectives. And what we do sometimes, we'll put a task force together, special homicides. And we see if our correlation will happen. But as far as having a standalone homicide task force, we don't have that yet.
And so,
So do your homicide only focus on homicide, or do they have to investigate
Come on, man.
other?
come on. We all together. That's why I asked him to come. Talk to him. Yeah, go ahead. That's why we here.
Okay, I'm sorry, say again, ma'am?
Your homicide detectives, are they only focused on the homicides, or do they have to go outside the scope and investigate other, drug, not deals, but issues, investigation? Or do they only focus on the homicides that's been going on in the north side of Fort Pierce?
Let me just say this much. It's the dynamics of most police departments. This is the second agency that I work for. And it's the same schematics. What it is homicides takes precedence. And yes, you're right. They do have to investigate other crimes. Narcotics, no. We have our own narcotics unit.
Okay.
We have specialized units for different things. But as far as our detectives are concerned, we may have a grand theft or burglary. Yes, they will investigate other crimes, because if they just investigated one crime, then there'd be a lot of downtime. But because of the homicide of what it is, that takes precedence. So it takes a lot of their focus when a homicide does occur.
Okay. Are y'all allowed to do roadblocks? Like, because
Ooh.
where the crime is going at, it's only 4 corners of north side. You could be able to block off, like Juanita, when that shooting happened, they should have been able to block off. It's one way in and one way out to block off that area. Once they got that call, they should have been able to block off Juanita Street on both ends. So whoever that shooter was couldn't get out of that area if they had enough officers. I know that's in the county, right?
Hold on.
It's in the county, but it's enough
Here he
officers to cover that area going and coming.
See, I got him here for you.
You want, Mr. Member, you going to answer this question, sir? Okay, as far as roadblocks are concerned, you're talking about the Supreme Court frowns upon that. Many agencies have been sued because of they considered it discriminatory practices. Because let's use this area, the black neighborhood. If we did a roadblock, then of course everybody's going to say they're doing it because we're black. Or some of the case precedents that I'm thinking of in particular, because we used to do them, and we don't do them anymore because we were sued because they were considered discriminatory practices. As far as setting up a roadblock. As a roadblock, there's certain qualifications you have to do in a roadblock. You can't stop every car. The law of the Supreme Court says if you do a roadblock, you have to stop every 5th car. And
In that crime scene, in that crime area, like if it's like the Juanita shooting just happened with the young man, there could have been roadblocks there going and coming to cover that. Because like I say, I'm born and raised here. A lot of this stuff I probably can.
Again, if you're coming home from work and I did a roadblock and you're like, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with the white stop and I got to get home. Well, you're talking about now a civil suit. Okay, I had no right to stop you. And again, if we do it legally, there's certain parameters that we have to fulfill. We have to put out a statement. We have to contact people and say, hey, we're going to do a roadblock over here. It's not even worth it because you're announcing to the people who we're looking for sometimes, the bad guy, hey, we're doing a roadblock. Well, I'll go to the other street, So it's a critical civil matter that's in the courts, but that's something that most police departments don't do anymore because of the lawsuits.
Now, I'll tell you how to change that. You have to go over my head. Talk to your legislators that's in Tallahassee. Talk to your legislators that's here to represent us, that's in DC. Take your complaints to them because they can go up there and change the laws to get the police power back out in our cities levels more power. That's what we got to do. And again, we can meet and I can show you how to reach them and help you say,
Okay.
this is what we're trying to do.
Okay, I would
Get,
love that.
get you to the right, but those are the people. And like I said, this is being taped, so I'm not gonna call their names,
Okay.
but you go look on your little voter registration thing, and whoever had this area, especially the one that's up in DC,
Okay.
you know, everybody know him. I said it was a he, and we got 2 females that are in Tallahassee right now that will fight for this area. So you got to get in their ear, and the same question you asked, 'cause that's a great question. When we heard that young man got shot, had my police officers been able to did roadblock without the threat of a lawsuit, we could have found out who done it based on the area it happened in.
Right.
Let them change the laws, give the police officers and the cities more power to do what you want us to do.
One more question. I know you mentioned that there was a lot of positions open for police officers. Are they trained though? Once they come in to be sworn, are they trained to handle these type of high crime murdering that is going on north side of Fort Pierce? Because yeah,
That's fine. I don't get
I don't
into,
want to get it.
again, you go, my understanding, you go through the police academy, you know, you go to the police academy, you learn, you earn your certification, then you come in. Now, what we don't want is a 2-month-old officer, you know what I mean, thrown into a major homicide,
Right.
not knowing what they're doing. So I'm not gonna speak for the chief or the deputy chief, but I think they work their way up, and you have to work with the homicide and other homicide detectives to get trained. But if you think as a citizen that a task force for homicide is needed in your area, I advise you to sit down with the chief of police or the
Okay.
deputy chief, make an appointment and talk to him. Just like he ran up here and talked to him today.
Okay.
That's the one thing about our chief of police and our deputy chief
Okay.
or deputy chief Ryder. They'll talk,
Okay.
right? They'll talk and listen, and then we put our heads together. This is what this meeting is for. This meeting is to, I'm mad at you. Got your 30 seconds, but now let's fix it and let's go. So I'm looking forward right now to a sit down with you two to go through the rest of that little book. 'Cause I know that little book got 4, 5, 6, 7 pages in it. Not being funny,
No,
but
it
I want to see what's in your book so I can have a better idea of what you really want me to do. And once I know what you want me to do, I'm capped at the city level. I can't even go into the county,
Okay.
the city level, but I can tell the county, look here, Commissioner X, Commissioner Y, this is a problem that the people in your district that you represent in the county are saying. You need to go talk to them. Then I could say, representative and senator from Tallahassee, this is what's going on in your area. You need to come have a meeting and talk to them and hear what's going on. All right, U.S. Congressman, this is what's going on. Help us help our police department and our sheriff's department be able to protect the citizens of Fort Pierce. That's how it works. So I'm looking forward to sitting down, going through your book. We put our heads together. I don't know it all. You see how quick I brought them up here when
Yeah,
you started
thank
asking the
you.
questions?
Yeah, thanks.
Because they got out of their beds this morning, not to support me. They wanted to hear what the public was saying. And in case I needed an answer, I was gonna bring them up because we all got roles.
Right.
But guess what? Everybody sitting at this table and the ones that not here, we all work for you.
Yeah.
We all work for you. And that's why I wanted to hold this. I got grief about wanting to hold this meeting. But I did it because I wanted you guys to come tell your stories. And I heard stories this morning that I didn't think I was gonna hear. I didn't know people cared about Moore's Creek. I care about Moore's Creek, you know what I mean? But I didn't think, I knew you was coming. And I was waiting, and I'm happy. It does my heart good to see you smiling again, because I know you hurt. But I kept my word on what I told you. Wasn't no other mother gonna sit up here because I'm doing things, and I did that. So I'm looking forward to sitting with you. Go ahead and go write some more in your little book, and we're gonna sit down. And what I want you to do, I need you to call the city clerk. And I need you to make an appointment and tell her you need more than because they do it in 30-minute blocks. Tell her you need more than 30 minutes, and if you need me to come to you, tell her that, and I'll come to you so you feel comfortable. We sit down, or you can come office in City Hall. We can close those little blades, lock the door, and we can talk how we want to talk, and we go from there. But I want to help you release some of the pain that you still holding on to and get some answers, and I'm still trying to help you.
I know this lady. I don't know this one, but I know her now. I came to this knowing I had other things that were important. There's a funeral today
Yes, ma'am, I talked about it.
where the boy was playing with the gun, took the clip out, and shot himself. Playing, showing the girl he ain't scared of the gun. Well, what he didn't know was the gun had a bullet in it, and he killed himself. Larry Lee and I and others have gotten with, well, we talked to them, and we're going to do it next week. We talked with the sheriff, the police in Port St. Lucie. I think he talked with the police here, somebody. But we're going to all get together and come up with ways to teach our kids gun safety. Teach them how to take care of themselves out there when they walk to school and get shot for no reason. So, Mr. Nick, you know a lot. And I am so proud of you because you know everything. And when I go to the meetings, then you always come up with the answers. So I just want you to know that we're going to get with you all.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to all work this thing together.
But Ms. Marjorie, I thank you for that, and I'm glad you said that because I'll be at that funeral also today. I went last night to the wake, and it was I'm still in shock because he was one of my mentees, and it's hard to lose. But one thing, since we're here in the community, growing up in our community, in my household, and still today, because I am concealed and I have my license, and it drives my mother crazy to see me with a weapon, because growing up, for some reason, guns were bad. You didn't mess with them. So we have to get over that stigma, because the guns are out there.
They're out there.
The guns are out there, and I need the parents to understand that when this program comes together, this gun safety program comes together, please don't keep your kids away from it, because they need to know, because you have no idea what your kids are doing and around when they're not around you. So once we put it together, we're not going to tell kids to go out and get guns, but we want kids to know the ins and outs of a gun, so we won't have any more tragedies. So that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that, and I'll be there when that
But
goes down.
we're going to also work on all of this, where
Right.
a kid walks to school and gets shot.
Right.
I'm glad I came because I heard all this.
Right.
So we're going to work on everything
No.
with Mr. Nick.
Right, and I agree, and I agree, and I commend the sister and the moms to come up to ask the questions. I hope you didn't think I was going to run from the questions, because you should have known I'm not going to do that. That's why I came. I'm ready to do whatever you need me to do, both of you guys. Whatever ideas that you think you have, I don't even care if you think it's a crazy or idea that never fly. I want to hear it because that's the idea or the solution that we all might be waiting for. You might know something. I'm not going to sit here, Ms. Margie said Nick knows everything. That's fine. I don't know everything. So I don't want to know everything. But Nick been doing this longer than I have. People don't really understand, being a city manager, you really got your hands on everything. So I don't want that. I know I'm here for you guys. I'm not the commissioner that's going to kick the can down the road. I'm not going to run from a situation. I'm not going to ignore a situation. I'm not too big that if I make a mistake, to look someone in their face and apologize for my mistake, because that's the only way I'm going to learn. So again, whenever you guys are ready, I'm ready, and as much time you need from me and as many minutes you need from me to get to what we're trying to do and what you guys are trying to do for the community, because what you don't understand is there is some mother, sister, brother home right now that's going to see this or hear about this that wanted to ask the same questions you asked, but were scared to come up and ask it. So with that, I say thank you, and I look forward to working with you, and I hope I answered as much as I could today your questions, and if not, I'm still here.
One more question.
Go ahead.
Is there a budget or enough money to have a homicide task force? 'Cause I think it's needed.
Right.
Do y'all think it's needed?
Tell you what you do. He'll probably kick me under the table, but tell you what you do. And he'll probably pat me on the back. He'll probably kick me under the table. But let me tell you what to do. And it's for everybody in the audience. Commission meetings, city commission meetings are the first and third Mondays of every month. If a Monday falls on a holiday, like in September, it's that Tuesday. 5:05. There's a spot on that agenda that says public comment.
Okay.
And that public comment, then, not like today, you got 3 minutes. You can get up there on that public comment and say what you said today and said, is there any money for a task force to deal with homicides in the city of Fort Pierce? Or can you guys look into allocating or doing whatever to see if we can get a task force to look into some of these homicides in Fort Pierce? Man, stop kicking me and you stop patting me on my shoulder. But that's how, but that's how it works.
Okay.
That's how it works. Because at that meeting, you're in front of all 5 of us.
Okay.
And you've now made a record with your request that we don't have to act on, but we heard it. And I guarantee you, one of us up there, it's usually me, that's why you ain't looking at me, it's usually me, but one of us will follow up. We usually follow up with every public comment that somebody makes. We usually follow up and try to answer it while they're there, but that's what you do. Come to those meetings and say whatever you want to say. On top of that, everybody's here, just come to the meetings.
What time is the meeting?
5:05. 5:05.
No.
Go ahead, 5:05.
Good morning. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Nick Mims. I'm the city manager, and I was born and raised in Fort Pierce. Okay, I got a huge family in Fort Pierce. I love Fort Pierce, but I want to make sure that each and every one of you knows something. I've been city manager since 2015. We need the people of Fort Pierce to exert their authority because we work for you. We work for you. It is our job to provide services to you, okay? We don't tell you what we need. You tell us what we should do, okay? And I want to make that expressly clear. We don't hear from the people enough We will never get tired of you because you tell us what to do. You are our bosses. On the organizational chart that we have on our website, the citizens run this city. The citizens, you contact him, you jump on him. And his job is to jump on Kenny and I. That's what happens. That's how this works. So if this is what you want, a homicide task force, then organize. Come to our meetings. Tell us this is what you want, and then it will be implemented. We will do everything in our power to assist this community. I'm from here. We're going to make this even better. We've made great strides. I remember Kenny first got here when he was deputy chief. And he came here and he was like, Nick, every day I'm texting you about somebody getting shot. We've made great strides, but it's not enough. If there's even one loss of life, then that's too much to violence, whether it's stabbing, shooting, whatever it is, that's too much. So I just want you to know your voice is strongly heard. But again, you tell us what to do and we will get it done. But let's organize, let's come together. We need more meetings like this. We need to hear what's on your mind because that's very important to us. We're just here for you, and I mean that. With every fiber of my being, I will do everything I possibly can that these folks direct us to do. So I'm telling you right now, he's not gonna like this. Jump on this man. Tell him what you need. That way he can do his job.
That's why I'm here. To follow up on Nick, and he'll laugh. What he said is true. We have issues in the city where every time I think something has happened in a city meeting, I think it's gonna be full. I think it's gonna be full, and I'm like, okay, good. When it's full and they give me the green light, I can let loose. And then I get there, it be two people, same people, whatever. And we got another issue going on downtown about a boat ramp.
Yeah.
A boat ramp. Every time there's an inkling that we about to discuss this boat ramp, the chambers are full. 30 people sign up to say the same thing that we all know Fort Pierce needs more boat ramps. And I have to sit there and listen to 30, 40, 50 people saying the importance of a boat ramp, and I get it. But when stuff happened in my community, I'm like, okay, we about to come, we about to show out, and I'm about to show out.
But that's gonna change.
That's all I need.
That's gonna change.
That's all I need, because I'm gonna say this to everybody that's listening to my voice. There's 5 of us up there, right? If one person comes says it, we're listening. But when you have 10, 15, 20 people that done took the time out to come say the exact same thing and what they want, everybody's heard it, everybody's listening, even the ones in Tallahassee, the ones in DC, the ones over on Virginia Avenue. They look at our meetings too. Mm-hmm. Until we start coming out and filling up that chamber to say what we want, it's gonna be status quo. Until we start coming, filling up that chamber just to sit there, to let them see our faces in our community, to let them know that, to let us know, or we here to see what y'all voting on. We here to see what y'all talking about. No, people in Tallahassee pay attention to it. People in DC pay attention to it. People on Virginia Avenue pay attention to it, because it's the numbers. And that's what Mr. Mims said. Organize, come together, have a game plan, sit there and say what you say. We work for you. So that's what I'm looking for. I always say, help me, help us. I don't ever say, help me, help me. I always say, on my posts, help me, help us. That's all I need. Get there and help me, and I'll take it from there.
When is the next meeting?
Monday night, 5:05.
This coming Monday.
Monday night, 5:05.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one more thing, and this is
Go ahead.
more for the kids. And I heard you guys talking about the things for the kids in the community. What about things that's affordable? I mean, if you're talking about $100 game for football and a parent has more than one kid or can't afford the $100, do you have any grants or scholarships for those kids or any other thing that's going on for the kids?
All right. I could talk about me at the baseball and softball. You know, that's where I'm at. I hope my president ain't listening. I hope my president ain't listening right now. But if you have a kid that wants to play baseball, t-ball, softball on that field, and you bring that kid out there and you say, I want my kid to play, but I really can't afford whatever, and you fire me, I'll say, you got $5? You give me that $5, I said, go sign your kid up and I'll go find a sponsor for your kid to play. Now, I hope my president ain't listening, but I've been doing that for.
Okay, now that's you doing that. What about other
Okay, I can't-
groups?
Talking to me.
Are there scholarships out there for the
Talking to me now,
kids?
as far as the city program, I gotta look at that. Did we turn people away? Let's see, well, I'm gonna try to think about that.
So, ma'am, you talk about youth engagement, youth sports, youth activities, right? Now me, I've been part of our Pop Warner football for the last 20 years, and I'm currently the president of the organization. And number one, I just want you to understand that we have maintained the most affordable price structure on the Treasure Coast, if not the state of Florida. Every year, other organizations go up. They're $200, $300 per child. We're $100, you know, and our cheerleaders are $150 because they have these fancy, beautiful uniforms. We have summer camps that we help to sponsor and we hold, and they're the most affordable on the Treasure Coast. And speaking of scholarships, basically that comes out of our own pockets. You see that man right there, Kenny Norris? There was a little bitty kid named Man. And he ran all over the place, and Kenny saw him, but his parents couldn't afford it. And Kenny took the money out of his own pocket and sponsored the young man. And I've done that countless times, and we help people out all the time. So it's an investment by the community. The community has to stand up if we want us to thrive. So without a doubt, if there's a family in need, we will help.
One more question.
Go ahead, this is your turn.
About the legal drugstores in our community. How can we fix that? We need.
Stop,
Okay.
stop.
Okay.
Talk about tomorrow. You know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Last Monday,
Okay.
I really not told you to stop, not being rude. Last Monday, was you? Somebody came to City Hall during the meeting, during the public comment. Yeah. Dr. Pinky Henley, and brought it to our attention,
Okay.
right? I have learned more about this Florida statute this week about these gaming machines and these legal stores go on. That's why he got it. That's why he looking like that. And we are on it.
Okay.
And I have gone, again, I'm human. I have stopped at some of these stores. I can't say what I'm buying because I just saw my mama walk over there. So I was buying water and a banana. Not a chip and soda, but water and banana, you know. So, and I walk right past them and I see the people in there not even thinking. You know, okay, I guess they legal. There are people in there. Come to find out, I'm not legal. So, being the city manager has already started
Thank you.
that role is to clean that up.
Thank you.
So we're doing it the legal way to see what we got to do, and that's already, and that came from someone standing up at city meeting, city council meeting, not even on the agenda, out the blue, and that's what she talked about.
Okay.
And we went and researched it, And there it was. And that's why I say I need people in the seats.
Okay.
Because if I got people in the seats, then it shows that you really care about your community unless a tragedy happens. We'll be there all the time, and that's where we are.
Okay. Thank y'all so much for
Thank you.
listening.
Working on that, though.
Thank
I got you. Looking
Thank
for
you.
your meeting.
Hello. How y'all doing?
Doing fine.
My name is Tina Lomax. I would like to say thank you for holding this meeting, but as you said, we all pay you all. I was wondering, where's the other commissioners and our great mayor? Some people, go ahead.
Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. All right, this is a meeting, I just want to clarify this for everybody. This is a meeting that I call as a commissioner from District 1, Seat 5. I came to talk to you guys. Outside of city council meeting, if the other commissioners and mayor were here, we would be in violation of Florida's sunshine law, and we would get in trouble.
Okay.
They could have come and sit in the audience, but I couldn't have said, like I can call Nick and the chief, I couldn't say, Mayor, can you do this? Or Commissioner, can you do that? Because I'm in violation of the sunshine law.
Yes, sir.
And you know we have a governor that will remove an elected official on the whim of a dime, and I'm not trying to do that because I'm trying to work for everybody. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that, and we go forward. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, no problem.
Because a lot of people, I'm talking about some people in the Northwest section, I'm very well connected with this area. And a lot of people seem to think that our commission board does not care.
Right.
That's why I asked that question. And I know that we have not been taking our time to come to the meetings, but we are trying to get our community men and ladies to engage more into that. And I want to address what you said. We have to blame ourselves first. Yes, that is correct, but we're not out there, so when it happens, we do not know. So that'll be hearsay and gossip, and we know the sheriff don't like that. And the police department has been doing really well with engaging with the community lately. In order for you to get them to speak out, you have to gain trust. And I have been seeing that, I've been seeing them stop and talking and stuff like that. In order for people to tell and stop the no snitch, they have to be able to trust. And if they don't trust you, they will not communicate with you. And a lot of times when we have deaths in this area, you have the detectives coming, they don't even speak to the people that's outside surrounding them. But then afterwards, you'll go and ask them a question. You have to be able to connect. I'm so sorry about your loss, but they'll be laughing and drinking coffee, so that's where you disconnect. And another thing, we have a lot of nonprofits in this area, and we have a lot of juveniles committing crimes. So why can't we sanction some of our juveniles from the detention center to some of these nonprofits, and then we can do the mental health. And then we also know that a lot of our kids at school, Westwood for one, I have a baby at Westwood, but we know a lot of them, these schools be getting caught with guns and stuff there. Why don't we take the counseling to the schools? Not just that, Pop Warner Field. My sons played on Pop Warner also. I got a picture where half of them is in prison and dead. So why don't we go and start our counseling with Pop Warner? It's a lot of places where mental health can start at, and it's a lot of places we can start reaching our children, but we have to start doing that and not talking about it. And the city is crying for help. And what one of the ladies was saying about the children see deaths. When you have children so little that is prone to violence and gun violence, they grow up and they get a gun. And so that's where our 14 and 15 and 16-year-old boys wind up committing murder, homicide, because they prone to it. That's what they saw. Nobody covered their eyes, told them to go in the house. But when we come into a crime scene, we see these babies right here watching. And it's no counseling for them right there. We should provide counseling on the scene and let them know. And then in order to reach the child, sometimes we have to reach the mom. I was once a mom that was out there not paying attention to what my boys was doing. I had to reevaluate my lifestyle. So we have to start a program that can reach the mom and the child. You know, and with this meeting, we handed out flyers all yesterday to try to get people here. And we're gonna continue because they got a new energy, it's a new wave. So things will go to moving around a little differently in the city, you know. But we have to have people that have the heart and compassion for the people. So when the people come to the meeting, I don't think we should hear we're not gonna dialogue. Why can't you dialogue with a hurting group of people? And I have heard that on several occasions, because I done been to several meetings, you know, and also with the meeting at Pastor Field Park Church years ago, when them young ladies got shot. I went to the city hall and we got that meeting together. So I've been out here for a long time and I know a lot of these boys, and it hurts to see them go to prison. It hurts to see them get killed. We need to be trying to see how can we save our babies as a people, because the Northwest section hear gunshots all of the time. When it said the city is growing, it's so beautiful, but on one side of the city, it's in pain. And that's the cry that we want you all to hear. And I commend you, Mr. Gaines, from doing this. But I really wish it would have been somewhere where we could have had the whole board to know that we are hurting over here. We are. And we want to help ourselves. We're not asking y'all to do it. We asking to do it together.
All right.
Thank you.
Don't come back. Don't. You know, then I got to answer that now. Now, first thing, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I don't have too much to say because everything you said, I agree with you. Now, that's why the cries from these recent shootings and everything and all the emails I got, that's why I set this up, because I wanted people to come to, as I say, if I was the bullseye today, let it be the bullseye today. Let's get your anger out. Let's get your concerns out. And then, okay, now it's out. You said it to somebody. Now let's work together. That's why I put this together and asked Nick to put this together for me. This is what I wanted to say to you. You're absolutely right. Everybody can't come to the meetings. And I made that in one of the meetings. So what we're working on now is before this year ends, that we have something like this where everybody's gonna be there. We're coming over here, all 5 of us gonna be here. You get your mic and y'all jump on them days. No, I'm just joking. You could jump on everybody that you want to jump on. So I heard that before, and I heard the cries that we didn't care. And that got to me because the reason I'm in this seat was because I was already out in the community. That's why you laugh. I was already out in the community working with them same kids that you know, running around with these same ones when they was getting in trouble. The officers used to call me and say, you play for Coach Gaines? Yeah, hold on. They'd be like, oh, don't call Coach Gaines, just take me in. Don't call Coach Gaines. I was that person. I've been out there doing it. So I understand where you're coming from, but just know that is coming. Look out for the flyers again, and you get all 5 of us. And I asked this to be taped so they could go back and listen to it by themselves without me present, so there won't be no violations. And they hear everything you're saying. The other ones will be able to go back and look at this and hear it too. So, but another thing I would advise everybody that's come to this mic today, if you can't make a city hall meeting because of the time or whatever, right? Make an appointment to meet with every last one of us. Make an appointment. Guess what? Can't say no.
Will do.
We can't say no. Because which commissioner wants to get into a meeting and public agenda come up, and that person says, I've tried to make an appointment with you on all these dates and you refuse. Right?
Yes, sir.
Right around? So make a meeting. And once you get your one-on-one time, all right, let me say this. Y'all know how y'all make these meetings. Then y'all get y'all one-on-one time, and then y'all get in the meeting and y'all scared to say what y'all gonna say. But come to me, tell me everything, but get in the meeting and say, when you get in your meetings, as what the city manager said, that chart, y'all number one. Say what's on your mind. Say what's on your mind. Because again, I keep bringing up this boat ramp. Boy, them people passionate about that boat ramp. See, you know, I got a candidate out there laughing because he know what I'm talking about. They passionate about that boat ramp. I mean, they be ready, you know, to tell something about a boat ramp. And I need people in District 1 and Northwest Fort Pierce to be passionate about your spot in the city. If you passionate, you give me the more power to be passionate for you. And until we come out and unite like that, and I'm glad you're saying that everybody getting together. That's what I've been waiting for. Because all I got to do, they already know. If y'all get together and say, hey, this is what I want, and y'all release me to say, be able to open my mouth, look at that. Ooh, boy, love it. But it's hard to want to fight for us. I'm going to do it anyway. And then when I tell people, man, I really need y'all there tonight because I'm about to say X, Y, Z. And if y'all are there, I got, you know, I need my back. And then I get there, one person there. It don't make our argument look good. But if I got a whole audience, we good to go. Numbers matter. Everybody see numbers, numbers matter. So thank you for saying what you're saying. I love it. Whatever ideas that you think you have as far as the talking to the kids there, he's here. He heard it. He ain't gonna say nothing, but he heard it.
Because we usually, what I have seen is that a lot of people that deals with kids in the city, especially the ones that come before you all, they deal with kids that's not really at-risk kids or troubled kids. And being a parent of a child that once was trying to get in trouble, I know that it's nothing that can be done until a child commits a felony. And so we need to implement some things that when a mother is saying, I see this child getting out of control, where do we direct that parent? And then, thank you, Mr. Mims, because I see a lot of young people working in this city, and that is so great to see. But when a child parent comes and say that my child is getting in trouble, I don't know what to do with them. Where can I get some help? Now, if you have a nonprofit and you are standing for parents and you are standing for kids, why can't we send that parent to you and they get the help that they need? So when these folks come before y'all, if they can't give these things that's needed in this section, why are we supporting these people?
Gotcha.
Let's hold some people accountable that's already right there before you. I'm not saying hold them accountable for my child, but what I'm saying is I don't mind being held accountable for your child if I can help them. And so let's start changing the way that we just hand out money, or we just start a program, or we give a building. If you have a building, let us utilize it once or twice a week for the at-risk children. Most of the crimes that's committed in this area is committed by people under 25. Some of them real young. How couldn't we catch that? With all of these programs around here, with all of these services that the city says that they have in all of our, I don't want to hit on it, but so many churches. Parents go to the churches, grandmothers go to the churches. Some of these young men go to church. So what can we do as a people to really help our kids before our kids lose their life to the grave or to prison? Either way, it's a loss.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I got you. Thank you.
You are.
You want to talk about?
Yeah, yeah. 1 second. Just sure, ma'am. And I think we talked before. You give her. So you know about Courageous Kids program, correct? Courageous Kids?
No, sir.
Okay, well, we do every Tuesday. We meet out at Courageous Kids Park. And we've been doing it for years now. Mr. Mills, how long have we done it? Since I've been here. So it's been about 8 years. I'm sorry.
You said that it's at a park.
Yeah,
So where is the park?
It's right there in the project.
32nd, yeah, it was 32nd and J. We meet every Tuesday at about 4:30. We've been doing it for 8 years. And right now, the group of kids actually are in Atlanta. They're gonna go by a couple of the universities, some of the HBCUs and so forth to get an indoctrination to say that the world ain't small, it's much larger. And I think that's one of the things that we have to start doing. Unfortunately, we would like more kids to participate, okay? But as they get older, they tend to gravitate somewhere else. But that's why I think other programs like you're saying can come in and help and partner with Courageous Kids and say, hey, we'll take it from here.
And that would be fine. I also remember just this one story, Deacon Mack. Y'all know Deacon Mack, right? I always tried to encourage him to start a program because a lot of young men trust him. When they used to get in trouble in school, it was in the newspaper. The young man left Westwood. Where did he go? To Deacon Mack. He worked at the detention centers. So I always spoke to him like, you should start something. These young boys look up to you. But we have a whole nother group of children now. Yeah. And so who do they trust? Who would they run to? Back in the days, I know for sure that Deacon Mack was one because he saw them, through. But who do they have now? And we have a lot of strong brothers in this community that these kids can look up to. But who do they have to go to if they want to commit a crime? If they sometime that thing be in your mind, but you don't want to act it out if you got somebody to say stop. Think about it. We love you. We care. So, Deacon Mack, I remember I took a group of them to this young man's house that a lot of young people hung out to. And they went in there and they ministered to them. And the young men locked the door. And they was crying. I'm talking about, this is a group that the police probably wouldn't know this house. And they was crying. And they went over there again without me. So we have to reach out. We can't wait for these babies to come to us. They may not come to us. But we have the resources, we have the people that really can touch our children, but we're not acting on it. That's what I'm saying. In order for the violence to stop, we have to do more. We have to do more. We have to reach. If somebody can't help their child. When my son was saved, and the lady that helped my son was a beautiful brown-skinned, green-eyed lady, we were laughing at her when we first saw her. Boy, she came in there, and she had him to know that he can graduate and go to college. He went to college, he got married. But when we first saw her, we didn't think that it would be a difference. She don't know where we come from, because at the time I wasn't in the place where I should be. So I'm like, what they signed her here for? But she made a change. So even when we think that we may not make a change in somebody's life, we would. Another thing, why can't we start sending them papers out back to these people and tell them, listen, your child is in a gang, your child is doing this. One meeting we had, they said they was gonna send papers out telling the parents that their child was involved in illegal activity, like gang member stuff. Why can't we do that again? Some parents do not know. Some of them do, but some do not. Because remember, a child probably not gonna act. My child ain't gonna act up in front of me or you either if he know you know me, but he might act up in front of them because he know they don't know me. So some parents do not know. Why don't we let them know? Y'all know who most of these babies is, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if it's mine, you just take them on to jail, because I ain't got time for it.
I'm coming to your house, you can believe that. I said, I'm coming over, you believe that.
Yeah, look, just take them on to jail. Don't even play with them. You can take mine. I done told you anyway. You big enough to do it. Yeah. But some of them don't know. Why don't we do that? If that meeting that was at Pesterfield Park Church, that's one of the things that they was talking about doing. It was not the police department, it was the sheriff department. But why not? If they ain't commit a heinous crime or something, and that y'all just say, oh, they fellowshipping. Send that parent a letter, and she can get on board and start watching him a little more. But it's things that can be done.
Thank you. Uh-oh.
Yeah, as respectfully as possible for everyone. I haven't lost a family member to crime. And truth be told, with total transparency, I don't even live in Fort Pierce. But I love Fort Pierce. My fraternity resides in Fort Pierce. My friends live in Fort Pierce. So it's important to speak and see what happens in Fort Pierce. I think people need to know the numbers, because I think a lot of the conversations that are being had, people don't really know the real numbers. Like, the real numbers are, think of Tampa Stadium. If you fill up Tampa Stadium, you might have 80,000 people in Tampa Stadium. That will be just a little bit more than the total amount of law enforcement officers in the entire state of Florida. There's a little bit more than about 90,000 sheriffs, police, and state troopers that cover the whole entire state of Florida. There are over 21 million people that live in Florida. So you have 90,000 people trying to provide law enforcement, safety, protection, governance for 21 million people. That's a hard job. We're not talking about the safety factor. That's just watching 93,000 folks trying to look out for 21 million folks. Let's bring it to the Treasure Coast. Let's make it Fort Pierce. We're talking about Fort Pierce. Let's talk about Fort Pierce. It's 47,000 people here in Fort Pierce. 47,000. It's less than 150 police officers. You got 100 less than. You don't even have 150. You got less than 150 trying to watch out for 47,000. The number ratio for the entire state comes out to be somewhere around about 246 officers for every person in the state of Florida. The ratios for Fort Pierce is something like 370 per person. So every police officer is looking out for 370 people in Fort Pierce. The commissioner was just saying, hey, listen, they hiring, they need help. It is about partnerships. You can't expect 150 people to be every place at one time. And the only way that we're going to make these communities safe, we got to have partnerships. If you see wrong, it's not snitching. Just, you don't want that wrong, get that wrong out your community. If wrong is happening and up the road, just say, hey, not in my neighborhood. Take it to somebody else's neighborhood. Let them know. It's a hard job. Look, and total transparency, I'm not a police sympathizer at all. But I understand that the job is rough and the job is necessary. They're law enforcement, and respectfully to the young lady that just came, you're law enforcement officers. You're not mental health counselors. You haven't been trained for mental health. You haven't been trained for suicide prevention. You haven't been trained for any of that. You've been trained to enforce what the law is. And anything outside of that is outside the scope of what your duty is. Now, yes, there are individuals that are professionals that provide mental health services and counseling services. Those people should have access to those scenes when it's safe and suitable, as deemed by a law enforcement officer. But to expect a law enforcement officer to also be the counselor, to expect a law enforcement officer to also be mental health, look, we expect you to be compassionate. We expect you to be fair, to be kind, to apply the law equally regardless of race, color, creed, sexual orientation. We expect all of those things, and we trust that that's happening. But the partnerships that you speak about, Commissioner, they're necessary and they're real. And I think what the young lady was saying is, show us how we can connect to make these partnerships work for the community. Because you can't expect 150 people to govern 47,000 people. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, and trust me, I heard every word you have said, and I've heard every word that those young ladies to my left have said. So I would do my best to make sure that everybody goes together, because we all want the same thing, and that's a fine line, because what I don't want are people that want to try to help that really don't want the situation to get better. So, you got to watch out for that too. They in for their own selves instead of for the community. So I'm in this for the community, because I love my community. And I know that, I'm not going to live to be 400-500 years old. So I got to make sure that the community that I leave, it was better than the community that I was here. And that's my goal. So I hear everything, and I'm looking forward to making groups. You said something about your fraternity. I've already called out the Divine Nine since I've been in the seat. So we got to do better. The Divine Nine and the Masonic Brotherhood. It's one thing to wear all these collars and everything, but when something happens, we don't see them. So I'm already on that. That could be a major role to some of the things that I've heard today. Because we have doctors and lawyers and therapists and everything in there that can do what we want to do. So that's another discussion, but I'm already on it. So, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for the opportunity
Always.
for me to oppose this 5G tower that's in my neighborhood, my community. And every opportunity that I get that I can speak against it, I take it. You will see me Monday night. If I'm alive, I will be at City Hall. Because as the gentleman said before, our homes are the only wealth that we will probably ever have in our lifetime. And a big, old, ugly tower in this neighborhood is not going to help it at all. And the values will go down. And regardless of what studies, because people can skew studies to come out the way they want them to come out, I fully believe it is detrimental to your health no matter what anyone says. That's my belief. And I don't want it in my community, I don't want it in my backyard, and I don't want it on my block, because that's where it is. And please, put it in an uninhabited area. Why do you have to have it in somebody's neighborhood? Why do you have to ruin a neighborhood where people are working, regardless of whether you believe it or not, to upgrade where they live? Because that's the wealth legacy that they will ever have in this neighborhood, more than likely. And thank you for listening to me. I surely appreciate it. I appreciate the job that you do, and I know it's not easy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And as I said earlier, certain things that you can speak on, because it's an open mic, but certain things that I can't comment on, just because they are on an agenda item Monday. So please come say what you said today, Monday night. And once you say what you say Monday night, I'll be able to respond when we're doing that hearing. Okay, I know she does. So I'll be able to, so anybody that heard her and say, he didn't even say anything, if you want to hear what I got to say, come to meeting Monday night. And you'll hear my response Monday night. Uh-oh.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Sabrina Hall. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here today. Now, I stand with these ladies over here, and I agree totally with everything that they said. They've addressed pretty much everything that I wanted to address, even down to Pastor Pinky Hentley and our stores and the illegal activity that's going on in the stores. Now, I do know that you all know that we've been advocating for the past month now on the corner of Avenue D and 25th Street. That was a tragic situation. That was my family member. So by us being there for the past month, it's so much that we found out in our community. One of the things that I want to address, because they've addressed everything, they've addressed the murders, they addressed gun violence, also the recent store activities that you all said that you have found out. Now, with that being said, last night we were out there trying to advocate for this particular event today, that the community can be here. By being out there last night, what came to my attention, and that have been to my attention for the past few months, I just never really said anything about it until last night. I'm here to stand for mothers in the community, period, today. Last night, I met a mother who had no ride to work. She worked on Midway Road at the Popeyes. Now, what we do have over on the east side is freebie. I want to ask the question about the freebies. How come no one here in the northwest section of Fort Pierce have access to those freebies? Online, it says that they serve a certain part of Fort Pierce. Now, the service is on from Thursday until Sunday, from 8 until 10. The young lady that I spoke with last night, she goes to work at 8 o'clock in the evening till 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, mind you, maybe she can't get a ride home 1 o'clock in the morning from the freebie, but why can't she get a ride in the evening to go to work, to have the access? Why is there no access to the northwest section of Fort Pierce when it comes to those freebies? And just to say that we're all taxpayers here. We're all paying for this service. How come the service is just on the east side? That's what I want to know.
All right.
So that I can go back and explain it a little bit better, please.
Okay. With this, glad you brought it up again. Transit and the whole transit system came up earlier part of the meeting today. And freebie. Freebie is a pilot program that was started and funded by the Fort Pierce Redevelopment Agency. Not the city of Fort Pierce, the Fort Pierce Redevelopment Agency. And that's a block of land, a block of town where there's special money just for that town. Over my head come from the government over that town. So it was a pilot program to see what the ridership or viewership was wanted. So we wanted to see in that program. Now we are looking at expanding freebie to other areas of the city. When the contract is up, other areas of the city to include with the transit from St. Lucie County and other areas, so where a young lady like you said will be able to start in a certain area and get to a certain area as far as the freebie. Freebie was never paid for by the city of Fort Pierce. So let's go back and let them know that. It's the Fort Pierce Redevelopment Agency. Redevelopment Agency. It's federal money that the federal grants come in for. Whatever that boundaries are, that's where it can go. So you can go look it up and see that's a different board. But that's where it started. But now we're looking at expanding that to what you're trying to say, along with St. Lucie County and the Transit Department and all the ARC and everything else they got going. So all that is incorporated, because what I said earlier was I have people that can't get to the ARC stations and might need something like a freebie to get them there so they can get a part of the system and go. One of the questions before you guys got here, I asked the question, how many people in here received a survey about the needs of transportation in the Northwest section? And I think I had 2 people raise their hand. Huh? 2 people raised their hand. So I told them they needed to send it again, because whatever response you got is not showing the true need in the area. So if the young mother or whoever wants to come back and I can show them the map and I can show them the contract of what the freebie was and where the money came from, that I can show that. However, based on the success of what's going on with this little pilot program, we are now looking at to expand it countywide to see how we can incorporate it into the ARC system and the transit system so it'll be available for everybody in the county.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does.
Right.
Because we just want to know, the statement that was made, and I hope I can say this.
That's why we're here.
We feel discriminated against
Right.
on this side, so to speak.
Right.
So I just wanted to share that with you all, because it feels like a discrimination if you don't know what's taking place in the city.
Right.
And a lot of times they don't know because they don't have anyone telling them what's going on. They just see, and if they feel as though they don't matter. Once again, I heard all day today you saying that you care about the city. Of course I do too. I was born and raised here all my life. So I do too, and I listen a lot. I was out on Sunday, and I was at the stores again. They're always saying that they never see you guys, never, until election time. That's the only time that they see you. No one is conversating with them. No one is coming to see about their needs or anything. So that's why I'm here today.
All right, well, I don't know how they don't see me, because people telling me I need to slow down, but obviously, see how you laughing, obviously I'm not hitting the right spots, and that's fine, and that's something that I can get with you after this to say, hey, where they're not seeing me,
Okay.
and I'll be there. I have no problem with that. But let me say you used the word discriminated against.
Yes.
Let me tell you this. I get more calls from people that freebie doesn't go to on the beach, because don't go to the whole beach. Out that area and to the south part of Fort Pierce, they're mad. They're mad, just as mad as Northwest Fort Pierce, because how we did it, it was just the FPRA district, the little district, and I can show you what that district is. That's where it did. So there's a lot of people upset that freebie is not going into their neighborhoods, and we've heard that. We're working on it. We're working with the county to make sure that if it's freebie, or let me be clear if I get myself in trouble, freebie or some other company that because we're going to put out a bid, some other company that does it, that is going to be able to benefit to everybody in the county. And that's what we're working for. But this pilot program was just for the FPRA district, and we wanted to see if it was either worthwhile, and the viewership is and the ridership is showing that it's worthwhile. So now we're looking to expand it with the ARC system of the county to make everybody be able to ride. But there are other people outside of the FRA district that are upset that freebie won't come north, west, or south. So it's everybody. They're not the only ones mad. And don't leave so I can know where that I'm not being seen, so I can make sure. Now, I'll be the first to say that some of the protests on 25th and D, I didn't go to, because anytime like that, sometimes I feel, and that's why I'm here, you guys correct me, a lot of times I don't show up is because of what you just said. Oh, well, here he is now. He's going to show up because we got this big rally going.
But wouldn't that be the best time for you to show
Not
up?
really, because people use that against you. Just like you said, he only shows up for elections. He only shows up for this. I've been to more churches, and I'm not even up for election for 3 years. But I've been to more churches, more schools, more events. Everybody that asks me to come to show up, more river cuttings, more whatever. Everybody asks me to show up. I try to get there. If I'm not in town, if I'm in town, I'm there. So if I didn't be somewhere that they want me there, somebody call me, let me know, and I'll come. I have no problem coming. That's why I hosted this, because I heard the same thing you heard. I don't care about my city, and that hurts me because I care more about this city than a lot of people think I do, because I was born and raised here, and this city made me who I am. Everything I've accomplished in life is because of Fort Pierce and the people that was part of my village that raised me to be where I'm at. And like I just said, if I close my eyes tomorrow, I have no regrets, because my year and 8 months, I think I've made Fort Pierce a better place than I was when I sit here. And that's my only goal that it is. Because a lot of people don't even understand that, Fort Pierce, they say it's a part-time job. City commissioner is a part-time job. I'm still trying to figure that out, because I don't know where I go that I'm not city commissioner. But I also have a full-time job and a family to support that I'm out doing everything. So let's me and you talk. And when I need to show up, you tell me where you want me to be. I'll be right there standing with you anytime you need.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, you've been waiting a long time. Nah,
I won't be long. I know we've
it's
said
fine.
a lot today. No. I'm just here to introduce myself and also my institution that I'm bringing over from Los Angeles. It's a private school from infants to 8th grade, and we want to be a resource for the community. So, and I'm also asking for, I guess, not so much permission, but just the fact that we can, someone mentioned partnership, and of course, everything's about a partnership. And since we have an institution that's about 30,000 square feet, it's going to be the old Orange Blossom Mall called Renaissance Business. Our school is called Creative Learning Lab Academy. We come from LA. We're probably the second oldest black school in Los Angeles. Many of the issues that we're talking about, of course, we have those same issues in Los Angeles. Our school exists in Los Angeles. It's called the Murder Alley, not of just LA, but all of California. So we're in the area where you all probably know a man named Nipsey Hussle. So we're very close to that organization, I should say, there. We've been there, like I said, since 1972. So the things that the community is going through, we kind of already been familiar with it. And I think it all starts with education, of course, not just education, but early childhood education. Because what a child does at 18 and 19, they started at 8 and 9. So being from Los Angeles, being the fact that we saw the explosion of gangs and we saw the anti-blackness, because that's basically what it is. It's an anti-black movement that our children have, and this lack of understanding of who they are and their history. We feel we're going to bring it institution-wise to the community, and I feel it's going to make an impact. Not only that, but our after-school programs, our programs on Saturdays. Compton, they had a great program called Saturday Science Academy I would like to bring here. We spoke of the Divine Nine. We'd like to tap into those organizations and bring them to our institution, open up for the whole community. On Saturday, not just for the children who attend the school, but children in the whole community should be able to come to school on Saturday and learn what they don't learn in school, something that interests them. They can do racing, drone racing, and so forth, and have gaming competitions. So this is what I'm about. My children grew up in the Los Angeles area, went to a school right off Crenshaw. It was one of the top schools in all of Los Angeles. Even they outperformed Beverly Hills and Palos Verdes and so forth. So what we bring here, we specifically wanted to come to a place such as Fort Pierce. It has a great history. I don't know if people know, but of course Fort Pierce was the first place that there was an accredited black school in all of Florida in the turn of the century. And we want to bring that back. And if you look at back then, what our grandparents had to do, they had to raise money that they didn't have. They said you raise $1,600, you can have means court. And they did. They raised $2,600. Right. Then they went and commissioned a principal who was going to Georgia, had him come to Florida. My family's originally from Oklahoma, Muskogee, Oklahoma. The Muskogee Creek Indians that came out of here went to Muskogee, then went to Mexico and then came back to Muskogee. That's our group. You know, we had to flee Tulsa because of the so-called riot.
Right.
So I'm really big on history. I'm big on history because self-esteem is predicated on group esteem. With our children having such a low group esteem because they do not know their proper history and they see each other really as the N-word, this is where you get this violence that comes from. We shouldn't have to police every single child. When I go to Ghana or when I go to Nigeria, you can hear a pin drop in the classroom and there's no gun violence. There's very little violence. Why? Because their cultural memory is intact. So what we want to do at our institution is remind our children who you are. For instance, I come from California. Very few people know it's a state named after a black woman, Califia. It was named after a black woman because the Spanish were there first. Just as they named the first city in all the United States, St. Augustine, is named after a black pope. So these are kind of things our children need to understand, that we've impacted the world and we shall do it again. So I just want to say that I'm here to really work with the police department. I want to do our leagues, our sport leagues, and open up to the wider community. And I also want to encourage anybody who's interested in opening up a daycare or preschool to do so, because it's at that age, the early age, where children are lost. If a child is not reading by 3rd or 4th grade, we know they base the prison population on the 3rd and 4th grade.
Right.
Here, they offer a voucher. Everyone can go to an early education center.
Right.
Let's think about what our grandparents did, our great-grandparents did. They didn't have the money, and they built schools. We have the resources to have schools, and we're not doing it. Through integration, we've lost a sense of self-determination. We put it on other people's hands to raise our children, and many times those people do not like us. Our children are anti-black because the teachers who taught them are anti-black. If you go to the average school, it is taught by a white teacher from the Midwest. They do it in LA. They give them combat pay to come in the inner city and teach our children. Even their statistics are telling them that if a black child has one black teacher, they have a better chance on going to college, especially a black male teacher. I mean, these are uncomfortable conversations, but we have to have them. We have to step on some toes to save our children. We can't be quiet and our children are killing each other. We think it's a normal behavior of black people, and it's not. It's abnormal. It's anti-black mentality that black children have. They call themselves the N-word because they don't know who they are. I keep saying that because it's very important. Not only that, but we got to get them into activities and keep them there, dance and sports, because if they're into an activity, it teaches them a discipline that can transfer over into the classroom. And also when it's time to go to college, they want to see that they're doing at least one activity outside of school. And I know that you're big on the baseball, and I appreciate that. And I'd like to work with you with our school, but I'm here to, once again, to say that I'm opening up our institution for those who have interest in working with our children and an interest in seeing our children going on the right track. And once again, I want to say that we've seen the same type of situations in the province that you all have in a small town. We've seen it in a major city like LA, which they're gentrifying. If you go to Skid Row, it's 90% black people. They're basically pushing us off. Inglewood is the blackest part of LA, and they're taking Inglewood right now. I used to go to the school board meetings there, and what they're doing there, they're running our children out of the schools so they can take over the community. We are in a crisis, but the solutions are very, very simple. And that is that let's take advantage of opportunities to create our own institutions or work with our own institutions to touch our children. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you for that, sir. And I don't know if your school has come in front of the city to present. I can't remember if you've come to the city, but I would ask you to reach out to city manager, also the city clerk's office, to get on the agenda just to tell City of Fort Pierce about what you're trying to do in your school, and we can get the word out for you. All right? That's fine. As soon as you get everything, we go from there. All right. So I see Mr. Clance is up there. You'll be the last one. It's 12:57. Don't want to keep everybody, but I will be around if you need to talk to me afterwards. I gotta let the city staff go, but I'm not running, so you can take us out. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner, I wasn't going to come up and speak, but you did call me out up there for laughing about your boat ramp. And I'm not here to talk about the boat ramp, but I did want to make sure that everybody knew, my name's James Clasby. I care very much about this community. We do have a county commissioner for this area as well. And real brief, I'm running for that one. So I am 5th generation from Fort Pierce, and I actually teach over at Dan McCarty. I've taught there for 3 years now, and in those 3 years, I've had the opportunity to teach 7th grade civics to over 450 students at this point. And it's one of the most fulfilling things I've ever had the opportunity to do. And I wanted to stress the point that come to the city commission meetings with these issues, because whenever we do fill the rooms with things, you guys all do listen. So that's the most important thing, that we get this message out that's being said here to the actual city hall, because that's the only way we can actually affect change out here. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys. In closing, I just want to thank everybody for taking out their Saturday morning. If you like these type of meetings, let me know. And if I know, I get with the city, we can put some more on, because I've gotten a lot of information down. Looking forward to a lot of meetings. Don't make me call you guys out, because you know I will. I'm looking forward to meetings. And I want to get things done. Again, if you don't remember anything else or take anything else from this meeting, take 2 things from this meeting. 1, you are the top of the chain. We work for you. We work for you. 2, if you want me to do something or need me to do something, get the information to me. I can't do it unless you tell me. And if you tell me and I don't do it, pick up the phone, come to City Hall, and tell me I didn't do it. We good on that? Good on that? So on that note, thank you for attending my first town hall meeting, and look forward to continuing to work for you guys.